All-Round Mid Laner Chapter 218 to Chapter 225. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. No advertisements. Parallel World Beyond-03. The next morning, Xianxia went to the meeting room with the newcomers who had passed the interview. The head coach, Brother Rui, briefly explained the rules of the GD team to them and sent them a training schedule. Then, he asked the four of them to train with the GD team's youth trainers. Every day, from 2 to 6 p.m., there would be 4 hours of basic training, including the last hit and the details of hero. Everyone would train on their own. The training software created by the club would monitor each player's data in real time and record it automatically. There was no way to slack off. The 3 hours from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. was the training time. They would practice their lineups for internal battles or invite other teams to play mock competitions. Then, they would review the results. Training would end at 12 p.m. and they would make their own arrangements for the rest of the time. Those who did not want to sleep could team up and play games to relax. No one was optimistic about Xianxia. Xianxia did not care about these discussions. The 3 youth trainers who had been recruited with Xianxia were all 16 or 17 years old. They looked young and immature. Xianxia was 21 years old and had a calm and steady personality. He did not fit in with the group of youth trainers. The youngsters secretly discussed. "What's up with this guy? He's 21 years old and he's still here? I heard that Brother Yang begged the coach to keep him. He'll probably leave after a month of trial. Brother Yang gave him a chance because he was soft. I don't think he'll stay for long." His Smurf account had already reached the king rank. That night, Brother Rui suddenly said, "We have a mock competition with the cop. We'll play against their second team. Are there any newcomers who want to play? Remember the URL M26KSW. His situation was special. It was understandable that no one believed him. He could only use his results as an excuse. Every morning, Xianxia would wake up at 7 a.m. and go to the training room to watch professional league videos. In the afternoon, he would practice hero and consolidate his skills. At night, since there were no mock competitions, he would play ranked games alone. Soon, he formed a group of 5 people. Other than the substitutes of the second team, the other 4 were newly recruited youth trainers. It was their first time on the team and they did not have good teamwork. Brother Rui said, "This mock competition is just for the coach to observe everyone's recent training results. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, just do your best." Xianxia raised his hand first. "I want to try." The other youths who were still hesitating also raised their hands when they saw him taking the initiative. "I'll go too. Bring me along." Both players were rookies from Team 2. Of course, the rookies wanted to show off their skills in front of the coach. GD's new solo player was very aggressive, and in the end, they lost. The duo at the bottom lane of the cop was also very fierce. They leaped over the tower and killed GD's archer instantly. Soon, the 2 players logged into the game and pressed the ready button in the room they had built. The coach immediately banned the players from using their favorite heroes. Xianxia used Blind Monk as a jungler. Brother Rui smiled and said, "It's their first time working together in 5 years. It's normal for them to lose. I just want to see the results of their training during this period." Sigh, they're all in a state of disunity. No one wants to command them? Xianxia's deep and calm voice suddenly sounded in the live chat channel, "Hold your ground in the bottom lane and coordinate with me to grab the solo lane." Not long after the start of the game, the bottom lane and archer both died once. They were in a disadvantageous situation. Yi Xiaoyang was watching the game from the perspective of a referee in the conference room. When he saw this, he couldn't help but say, "The rookies are too impetuous. They only want to show off and make a lot of mistakes." After all, the coach and captain were watching. It would be very embarrassing if they lost. Everyone immediately perked up. The youths were stunned for a moment. They didn't know why, but there was a power in his voice. Perhaps it was because he was too calm? In their team, Xianxia was the oldest. Since Xianxia stood out to command, the youths were willing to cooperate. No matter how slow GD's top laner was, he knew what to do. He hurriedly controlled his opponent and followed up with skills. The 2 of them worked together to cripple their opponent. Shua killed the jungler with a Q and then killed the top laner of the opposing team. This set of maneuvers was as smooth as flowing water, completed in one go. The top laner circled around his jungle and met up with Shua. Just as the two of them reached the top lane, the jungler of the opposing team rushed over. Shua, who was hiding in the bushes, pressed the attack button and followed up with a combo. Blind Monk suddenly teleported some distance and circled around to the back of the opposing team. He kicked the jungler and top laner in front of his teammates. Xianxia, who was watching the game, couldn't help but praise, "Nice." The coach's eyes lit up. Blind Monk's roundhouse kick is very skilled. His hand speed is very fast and his timing is very good. He predicted that the opponent's jungler would grab the top laner and went to wait in advance. His awareness is very good. Double kill, double kill. Xianxia couldn't help but sit up straight and continue watching. The top laner's double kill turned the tide of the early game around. The bottom laner also began to stabilize and develop. Shua's economy gradually improved after getting the double kill. He started to wander the game to drive the pace. Eye-touching roundhouse kick was a high-level maneuver skill of the hero, Blind Monk. It required him to press the button to quickly combo in a short period of time and use the position of the jungler to teleport and kick the opponent from behind. Shua's combo just now was clean and efficient. He kicked back twice and got the double kill in one go. He grabbed the lane and killed the opponent's top laner. Then, he began to invade the jungle and steal buffs, reducing the development space of the opponent's jungler. He didn't do much. He only gave the notifications on the map, "I'm on the way," and attack. His teammates saw him coming over and prepared in advance. Shua grabbed the bottom lane and killed the opponent's top laner. Brother Rui was frightened. Shua's sense of rhythm is too strong. A jungler's sense of rhythm was the most important. It required a strong sense of the big picture and calm judgment to know what to do at what time and which lane to go to for support. Soon, GD team's headwind at the beginning of the game turned into a favorable one. Shua's economy was the best. He kicked in 1 second and the elusive Blind Monk made the opponent suffer. At the end of the game, Shua's record was 7-0-4. He was the MVP of the game. Xianxia stared at the computer screen, his eyes shining. Maybe this person would really become his best partner? He immediately looked at the coach and said, "From tomorrow onwards, Shua will train with me." Brother Rui was stunned. What? A smart jungler could always appear by his teammates' side when they needed it the most. Compared to the other youngsters who were in a hurry to perform, Shua had a very clear judgment of the situation. He had his own thoughts and rhythm. He could drive the rhythm of the game. This was the most difficult part. Xianxia smiled and said, "The jungler position isn't available yet, right? Let's try it out first and see who can be the starter in the end. We'll decide based on ability." Brother Rui was silent for a moment and nodded. "Okay, let's try it out first." Xianxia lowered his voice and said, "Didn't Nan retire? Our home team is lacking a jungler. Let Shua try it out. He'll partner with me for a while." Brother Rui frowned. After Nan retires, the second team's jungler will be replaced first. The higher-ups are also looking for a jungler to partner with you during the transfer period. Shua is a newbie after all. It's not in line with the rules to partner with you directly. Shua's attitude towards them was quite gentle. After all, they were all newbies in GD team. He didn't want any internal conflicts in GD team to make things difficult for Yang. It was best for everyone to be friendly. Brother Rui came to the training room and reviewed the game. He said seriously, "This is the first training match. You newbies should practice more together and don't just think about yourselves. From tomorrow onwards, form a team to play ranked games at 8 o'clock every night to cultivate teamwork." He paused and looked at Shua. "Shua, come with me for a while." If Shua performed exceptionally well in the 1-month trial period, they wouldn't have to spend a lot of money on a jungler. If Shua couldn't keep up with the pace, the transfer period would open next month. At that time, there would still be time to buy a jungler or promote a substitute for the second team. After this training match, the youngsters who were secretly discussing how long he would be willing to stay immediately became respectful towards Shua. They all called him Brother Shua affectionately. Yi Xiaoyang also looked up at him and smiled. His eyes were full of praise. Qi Shua, you played well just now. From today onwards, you'll practice ranked games with me. Qi Shua suppressed his excitement and nodded. Okay, Captain. Qi Shua got up and followed the coach to the home team's training room next door. He saw Yi Xiaoyang sitting in a wheelchair at a glance. Coincidentally, their alternate accounts were Sunshine and On Light. This reminded Qi Shua of the happy times when the Moon Duo dominated the international server. Qi Shua looked at Yi Xiaoyang with a gentle gaze. Yi Xiaoyang didn't notice this. He put on his headphones and asked, "What hero are you good at?" Yi Xiaoyang pointed to the side. "You sit here. Let's go to duo." The two added each other as friends and went to play ranked games together. Qi Shua replied, "Okay." Yi Xiaoyang smiled and said, "It seems like your hero pool is quite deep. Then you can choose Xianxia in the next game and try to coordinate with my little temptress. Is that okay?" Qi Shua replied, "I'm good with anything. Let's see what you like to play. I'll coordinate with you." Yi Xiaoyang froze for a moment and looked back at him. "You mean, you can play all the jungler heroes?" The weakness was that they were more fragile in the late game and were easier to target in the early game. Yi Xiaoyang's tricky little temptress was famous for being fierce. Sometimes, he could even solo the enemy's laner in the early game. After the two entered the game, Qi Shua picked Zhao Xian on the first floor while Yi Xiaoyang picked Little Temptress on the second floor. Qi Shua replied, "No problem." The jungler Zhao Xian and the solo tricky Little Temptress were a classic combination of junglers. They had high burst power in the early game and were agile. The two of them could easily kill the enemy's weak tanks. Yi Xiaoyang's economy was strong enough to be blocked. The last wave of 3 kills ended the game. It felt so good to win. Qi Shua picked the lane at level 6 and cooperated with Yi Xiaoyang to take down the enemy's laner. Then, Qi Shua went to the bottom lane and Yi Xiaoyang followed. The two of them jumped over the tower and killed the enemy's archer and support. Qi Shua assisted Yi Xiaoyang to get a double kill. In this game, the duo developed steadily. The key was the Little Dragon team. Yi Xiaoyang controlled the enemy's 2 players. Qi Shua cut in time and got a double kill. The duo's economy took off again. Yi Xiaoyang became more and more excited. "Very good, let's play another game." Yi Xiaoyang rubbed his hands and smiled. "Let's play again. I'll take Lulu and you'll take Mantis." Lulu was a controlled jungler while Mantis was a harvest jungler. As long as Lulu's control skills were accurate, Mantis would be able to cut in and kill the enemy. It had been a long time since they cooperated so well. Qi Shua would appear in whichever lane he wanted to go to catch people. In this round, Yi Xiaoyang chose Clockwork Spring, while Qi Shua chose Prince. Both of them were team fighting heroes. In the later stages of the game, Yi Xiaoyang used his ultimate skill to pull the enemy's 4 players, while Qi Shua followed up with a crowd control. His scene control caused the enemy to be unable to move for 3 seconds. Qi Shua successfully grabbed the dragon and wiped out the enemy in one wave. Yi Xiaoyang couldn't calm down for a long time when he saw the word victory pop up on the screen. Yi Xiaoyang said excitedly, "Let's play another game." Qi Shua interrupted him in a low voice. "It's already 3 in the morning. Captain, aren't you sleepy?" When others ganked and needed protection, Qi Shua would always come to their side in time to help. The two of them had the same understanding of the game and could keep up with each other's rhythm. This feeling of telepathy was something Yi Xiaoyang rarely experienced. Even his old teammate, the jungler, who had played with him for 3 years, would sometimes have different thoughts. But Qi Shua would always think the same as him. Qi Shua's lips curled up slightly and his gaze was particularly gentle. "Go to sleep first. I'll play with you again tomorrow." Yi Xiaoyang nodded. "Okay, then I'll go to sleep first. You should rest early too." Yi Xiaoyang glanced at the time in the lower right corner and realized that he had played with Qi Shua until 3 in the morning. He wasn't sleepy at all. Instead, he was very excited. Yi Xiaoyang coughed in embarrassment. "It's been a long time since I've played so well." Qi Shua pushed Yi Xiaoyang to the door of room 301. He looked at the familiar room number and pretended to ask casually, "Captain, you're also staying in a double room, right? Where's your roommate?" Annan retired. He packed his luggage and went back to his hometown. I'm staying alone at the moment. He wanted to turn around in his wheelchair, but Qi Shua immediately stood up and grabbed the wheelchair for him. As he pushed the wheelchair forward, he said, "Which room are you staying in? I'll send you back." Yi Xiaoyang said, "Room 1 on the 3rd floor." "Thank you." Qi Shua found an excuse. "It's easier to communicate with the jungler alone. I've just joined the GD team and there are still a lot of things that I don't understand. I'd like to ask the captain for advice." Yi Xiaoyang smiled. "Okay, we'll talk about it if you can stay. If I can stay after the trial period ends, can I stay with the captain?" Yi Xiaoyang was stunned. He looked back at him. "You're currently living with Xiaoyu, right? Are you not used to it?" In the following days, Yi Xiaoyang and Qi Shua played together every day. Their teamwork was getting better and better. Yi Xiaoyang had a very strange feeling. It was as if Qi Shua had taken over his mind and could always follow his train of thought. When the wind was against him, Qi Shua would fight with him. When the wind was against him, Qi Shua would help him reap the harvest. The two of them were able to play together brilliantly in every game. Yi Xiaoyang had also gotten triple or quintuple kills with Qi Shua's help many times. Qi Shua said, "I'll work hard." Qi Shua pushed Yi Xiaoyang into the dormitory and settled him down before returning to his room. In just a week, not only had Qi Shua's results been amazing, but even Yi Xiaoyang seemed to have returned to his peak state when he was 17 or 18 years old. The more they played together, the better they became. The more they played together, the fiercer they became. The GD Liang that the coaches had been crazy about, the once dazzling and fierce solo player, seemed to have returned. The coaches had been watching the videos of their matches every day. The more they watched, the more surprised they were. Was this the best teammate sent by God? In the blink of an eye, it was almost time for Qi Shua's trial. The League of Legends transfer window was also open. The two junglers that were put up during the transfer window were very good, whether in terms of results or popularity. The club's executives intended to buy one of the gods and asked the manager to get in touch with him. When they met a teammate who had the same mindset, their strength would increase. As a coach, Brother Rui certainly understood this point. However, Qi Shua had no experience in major competitions. He could only play well in practice matches, but not in actual competitions. Yi Xiaoyang said, "I believe he can do it. Buy another jungler and get him to practice with me again." "Yes, Qi Shua cooperated with me very well. I believe you've seen the training videos during this period of time, Brother Rui. Whether it's awareness, overall situation, sense of rhythm, or maneuvering, which one is worse than the two professional players during the transfer window?" Brother Rui was speechless. Yi Xiaoyang firmly said to the coach, "I only want Qi Shua." Brother Rui advised, "Qi Shua can play as a substitute for now. He's already 21 years old and has no competition experience. He can't be in the starting lineup directly, right? No matter how well he cooperates with you, he might not be able to withstand the pressure during the competition." Yi Xiaoyang concluded, "In my opinion, Qi Shua is the best partner." The coach rarely argued with Yi Xiaoyang so seriously. Brother Rui was silent for a moment and decided, "Let's do it this way. Let Qi Shua play a few practice matches with the home team and see the results." Yi Xiaoyang said, "Qi Shua is really talented. And he's already 21 years old. When will he be able to play as a substitute? We shouldn't delay such a talent. Competition experience can be accumulated slowly. There's still a long time in the regular season. I believe he can adapt quickly." Brother Rui was speechless. Outside the door, Qi Shua couldn't help but smile when he heard the debate between Yi Xiaoyang and the coach. Yang Yang was trying hard to fight for him, just like how he had fought for Yang Yang in the past. Their appreciation for each other resonated from the bottom of their souls. "Even in a different world, you're still the best partner I recognize." YYPing World-04, Qi Shua's performance in the mock competition was outstanding, and he was almost named MVP. Yi Xiaoyang wanted Qi Shua to show his skills, so he chose a mid-laner who was a tool in the mock competition. His main role was to control and assist Qi Shua in killing people. As a result, Qi Shua's post-match performance was very good, and his rating was also the highest. The coaching staff looked at Qi Shua's performance and discussed for a long time before finally deciding to keep Qi Shua. It was risky to let a 21-year-old rookie play in the starting lineup, but from their performance in the mock competition, Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang's teamwork was indeed very good. It was hard to find such a natural partner. Even if they bought a jungler from another club at a high price, he might not be able to work with Yi Xiaoyang. On the day that Qi Shua officially signed the contract, the GD coach took the initiative to treat his family to a meal to welcome Qi Shua into the team. After this mock competition, Qi Shua had become familiar with several members of the home team. The top laner, Arong, KK, and the support, Xiaoyu, were all teammates who had been partners with Yi Xiaoyang for many years. But because Qi Shua was older than them, his family called him Brother Shua. Compared to the lineup change in Tianheng, the GD team in this world only had a jungler change, so it would be easier to work together. As long as Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang had good teamwork, they would be able to coordinate with each other in the top and bottom lanes. After returning to the club, Yi Xiaoyang took the initiative to ask the manager to let Qi Shua move in with him. Qi Shua also quickly packed up and moved to Yi Xiaoyang's dorm that night. After this period of rest, Yi Xiaoyang no longer needed a wheelchair. He leaned against the wall with his crutches and enthusiastically introduced Qi Shua. The club provides hot water 24 hours a day, so you can take a shower at different times. There are drinks, ice cream, and many snacks in the fridge. If you're hungry after playing ranked matches, you can go to the fridge to find something to eat. If you have any difficulties or need any help, feel free to look for me. Qi Shua could not help but chuckle at Yang "I'll take care of you later" attitude. He turned around and looked at Yi Xiaoyang, who was leaning on his walking stick. His gaze was indescribably gentle. "We'll be teammates after this. I'll try my best to cooperate with you and win the championship together, right?" Yi Xiaoyang's eyes lit up. "Do you think we have a chance of winning the championship next season?" Qi Shua said firmly, "Definitely." Their eyes met. Yi Xiaoyang couldn't help but smile. "Qi Shua, I'm glad you're staying. I've cooperated with many players before, but it's nothing special. When I cooperated with you, it was the smoothest and most tacit. This must be the legendary high compatibility, right?" Qi Shua Xian, the two of them were indeed very compatible. Don't you remember that in the ABO world, the players' pheromones were 100% compatible? Meeting Yi Xiaoyang's gaze, Qi Shua smiled slightly and said, "It's an honor to have such a good rapport with you. Will you be taking care of me in the future, Captain?" Yi Xiaoyang reached out and patted Qi Shua's shoulder. "Don't worry, I'll take care of you. If anyone dares to scold you in the future, I'll beat them to death." Qi Shua enjoyed the feeling of being taken care of by Yang. This was something he had never experienced in the ABO world. However, Yi Xiaoyang's leg was still gone, so shouldn't he be the one who needed to be taken care of? Qi Shua looked at his cast leg and asked in a low voice, "Your leg is inconvenient. How are you going to shower?" Yi Xiaoyang shrugged helplessly. "Don't mention it. The cast hasn't been removed, and I haven't showered in the past few days. I can only wet a towel and casually wipe it. It's winter now, so I won't sweat much." Qi Shua asked tentatively, "Do you want me to help you?" Yi Xiaoyang said without hesitation, "Yes." And so, Qi Shua helped the lame Yi Xiaoyang into the bathroom. Yi Xiaoyang casually took off his clothes in front of Qi Shua and even handed his towel to Qi Shua. "Help me wipe my back. You can't reach it." "Thank you." Qi Shua, no wonder he didn't have the concept of alpha and omega in the ABO world. It seemed that Yang was born careless and treated all men as brothers. To Yi Xiaoyang, some physical contact was nothing more than brothers helping each other. Qi Shua looked at his beautiful back and lean waist, and his heartbeat became somewhat erratic. Actually, the Yang of the ABO world and the Yang of this world didn't look alike in appearance. The Yi Xiaoyang of the ABO world had mixed-race genes. His skin was fairer, and his hair was a natural golden color. He was very eye-catching and beautiful, and his body was slightly thinner because he was an omega. The Yi Xiaoyang of this world was more handsome. He had short black hair, a bright forehead, and a pair of clear black and white eyes. When he looked at people and spoke, he gave off a frank and sincere feeling. With his good looks and carefree personality, it was no wonder that the members of the GD team liked this captain. Qi Shua took the towel, dipped it in warm water, and placed it on Yi Xiaoyang's back. His movements were careful and gentle as he slowly helped Yi Xiaoyang wipe his back. Yi Xiaoyang sat on the stool with a calm expression. He moved his cast leg to the side and raised his arm in coordination with Qi Shua. It wasn't a big deal for brothers to wipe each other's backs. They wouldn't even blush if they rubbed each other's backs. Yi Xiaoyang had a straight man's mind. He was frank and casual. However, Qi Shua was resisting the urge to pull the person in front of him into his arms and kiss him. After wiping his back, Yi Xiaoyang got up to wash his face. However, he lost his balance on one leg, and with the water on the floor, he slid straight to the side. Qi Shua hurriedly reached out to support him. "Be careful." Yi Xiaoyang crashed into Qi Shua's arms. In the not-so-spacious bathroom, their bodies were pressed tightly against each other. Yi Xiaoyang was still half-naked. Qi Shua hugged him tightly, and his heart suddenly skipped a beat. Although there was no scent of pheromones on each other's bodies, however, the moment he hugged Yi Xiaoyang, Qi Shua couldn't control his heartbeat. He lowered his head to look at Yi Xiaoyang, and his eyes met with Yi Xiaoyang's. Yi Xiaoyang's ears inexplicably burned as Qi Shua stared at him. He hurriedly supported himself with one hand on the sink to steady himself. Qi Shua's voice was gentle. "Are you okay?" Yi Xiaoyang coughed lightly. "I'm fine. Thank you. Let me wash my face first." Qi Shua hung the towel by the side and silently retreated. In the bathroom, Yi Xiaoyang's cheeks were a little hot. He felt that the scene of Qi Shua hugging him just now was somewhat familiar. He didn't think too much about it. He quickly cooled the heat on his face with cold water before limping back to the bedroom. That night, Qi Shua didn't sleep at all. He dreamed of scenes of him being intimate with Yang in the past. At first, it was Yi Xiaoyang from World AB. Later, it became Yi Xiaoyang from this world. He was worse than an animal. He marked Yi Xiaoyang from this world. Even if Yang didn't have omega glands, he would still forcefully mark Yang. In the end, he was punched out of bed by Yi Xiaoyang, and Qi Shua finally woke up. After waking up, Qi Shua awkwardly went to the bathroom to take a shower. Yi Xiaoyang suspiciously asked, "Do you have a habit of taking a shower in the morning?" Qi Shua's ears were a rare shade of red. He whispered, "I was sweating, so I just took a shower." Yi Xiaoyang, oh. He felt that Qi Shua was a little weird. But wasn't he the weirder one? Why did he dream of Qi Shua hugging him last night? Yi Xiaoyang couldn't figure it out. Soon, the transfer window was over, and the LPL spring season was about to begin. On GD Club's official roster, an unfamiliar ID appeared in the jungler position, GD Shuoyue. The fans were confused. Who was Shuoyue? 21 years old, Qi Shua, no competitive experience. Where did this newbie come from? Could he be a substitute? There were all kinds of speculations online. In the first match, Qi Shua calmly sat in the jungler position on Yi Xiaoyang's left. He was the starter. The fans were shocked. What the F***ck, Shuoyue is the starter? Where did this mysterious expert come from? I've never seen him on the list of trainees. Is he a player who came out of nowhere? Shuoyue, Liang, don't you think these names match? The fans were all speculating about Qi Shua's background. In the first match, GD met their nemesis from last season, KOC. KOC's jungler, Pink, was one of the top players in the league. In last season's regular season, he had destroyed Yi Xiaoyang's mid lane and killed Yi Xiaoyang 3 times in a row, almost causing GD to miss the playoffs. Now, GD had a new jungler, but the netizens didn't care. I feel like Yang is done for. Is the new jungler reliable? Don't let your own jungle become the other team's backyard. Coach Pink has been targeting Liang since the start of the game. How much hatred does he have? Everyone knows that GD's mid laner is slipping. If they don't kill the mid laner, who should they kill? Yi Xiaoyang's individual skill was too strong, so he was often targeted. KOC's coach was right to target Liang in this match. The opposing jungler was a newbie. If he destroyed the mid lane and invaded, the jungle would collapse. That's right, GD's team chose a jungler and a tool. The stream was full of negative comments. Is the new jungler okay? I'm not boasting or criticizing him, but if Pink just crouched down in the jungle, his legs would be broken. Let's all congratulate KOC for winning this match. Everyone agreed that GD was bound to lose this match. Not long after the match started, Qi Shua, who hadn't reached level 6, suddenly crouched down in the mid lane after using the red and blue buffs. Yi Xiaoyang purposely left a gap in his positioning to bait the opposing mid laner, then worked together with Qi Shua to take down the first kill. Qi Shua, who had taken down the first kill, quickly cleared the jungle and found the right time to go to the bottom lane. Taking advantage of the opposing jungler gank the bottom lane, he worked together with the duo in the bottom lane to kill KOC's archer. The netizens in the live broadcast room were stunned. Is the newcomer so fierce? Shua Yu, this wave is really something. KOC's fans are so noisy, I'm going to smash your head. Qi Shua's jungler had a strong sense of rhythm. After establishing an advantage at the start of the match, he worked together with Yi Xiaoyang. Support, invade, and capture. The two worked together to ambush the enemy jungler in the jungle, catching him off guard and killing him in the middle lane. KOC's rhythm was completely messed up. Qi Shua, who was number 1 in the economy, couldn't be stopped. In the crucial team battle, Yi Xiaoyang used a crowd control skill and accurately controlled the opposing team's 3 players. Qi Shua entered the scene and killed 3 players in one wave, cleanly wiping out the opponent's team and ending the match. The 2 casters were stunned and almost cursed. F***ck, this newbie is so fierce. What's the background of GD's new jungler? Haven't you heard of him before? He's not a youth trainee, but more like an expert discovered by the club scouts? Shuayue, it's a name I've never heard of. In the second round, the opposing coach started banning junglers, but Qi Shua's hero, Qi Shua, couldn't finish banning them in a short period of time. The jungler continued to carry the game, and with Yi Xiaoyang's help, he got another 3 kills. GD Shuayue became the MVP of both rounds. Yi Xiaoyang smiled as he stood up and hugged Qi Shua. How's that? Qi Shua's heart raced as Xianxia hugged him, and he hugged him back gently. He was extremely glad that he came to this world and came to Yi Xiaoyang's side. If he wasn't here, wouldn't Xianxia have had a hard time this season? Don't worry, no matter what happens in the future, I'll be by your side. GD's first regular season match of the new season ended with a clean 2 o'clock. After the match, Yi Xiaoyang publicly posted on Weibo, GD Shuayue, you're so handsome in your debut. Qi Shua reposted his Weibo, thank you, Captain, for the compliment. The fans. What do you mean by that strange sweet smell mixed with the smell of dog food? Parallel World Otherworld 1/05, after GD team defeated KOC 2 o'clock in their first spring season match, the 21-year-old new jungler Shuayue quickly attracted the attention of all the big teams in the gaming circle. Everyone tried to find out where he came from, but no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't find any match records. The Chinese players were all confused. He's never played in a match before? I've never seen Shuayue's ID before, what's going on? This doesn't make sense. A 21-year-old youth trainee, how is that possible? He doesn't look like he came from the youth training camp, right? I heard that he suddenly went to GD Club for an interview and was accepted. The players in the gaming circle were full of question marks. So Shuayue was considered an expert who had fallen from the sky. While they were confused, the players in the various teams also breathed a sigh of relief. It was very easy for newcomers to get stuck in a bottleneck. At the beginning, they would show off, but due to their lack of experience and mental fortitude, as long as the big teams could figure out their playstyle, they would quickly be targeted, and the more they played, the worse they would become. It was like being blocked by a wall, and this was also known as the newbie wall in the gaming circle. There were many outstanding newcomers in the gaming circle, but those who could truly cross the newbie wall and make a name for themselves were as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Especially since Qi Shua was already 21 years old, his condition and reflexes were definitely not as good as a 17 or 18-year-old teenagers, so there was no need to worry too much about him. The practice of the big team still focused on Yi Xiaoyang. Yi Xiaoyang was in a good mood recently, not only because his coordination with Qi Shua was getting better and better, but also because his cast had been removed and he could finally walk normally. Without his crutches, he could take a shower alone. To be honest, he was a little embarrassed to have Qi Shua help him scrub his back every day. Although it wasn't a big deal for buddies to scrub each other's backs, every time Qi Shua placed his hand on his waist, his skin would inexplicably heat up where the man's fingers touched. This made Yi Xiaoyang's face heat up uncontrollably. After removing the cast, Yi Xiaoyang was relieved that Qi Shua didn't need to help him. That night, when Yi Xiaoyang came out of the shower, Qi Shua came to the bathroom door. The tall boy's gaze was gentle as he asked in a low voice, "Is your leg completely healed?" "Don't worry, it won't be bad." Yi Xiaoyang turned around and went to sit on the sofa in the living room. Qi Shua walked up to Yi Xiaoyang and said, "I'm your leg." As he spoke, he suddenly squatted down and reached out his hand to gently massage Yi Xiaoyang's calf. His voice was low and gentle as he asked, "Does it still hurt?" Yi Xiaoyang, Qi Shua looked up at Yi Xiaoyang. "Does it hurt?" Yi Xiaoyang's heart raced as though someone had pressed the fast-forward button. He hurriedly averted his gaze and said awkwardly, "Still, it won't affect my walking." "It doesn't hurt too much." Qi Shua said gently, "Your leg has been in a cast for a long time. After removing it, your muscles have shrunk a little. I'll help you massage it every day to help circulate the blood in your leg. This will help you recover faster." As he spoke, he began to massage Yi Xiaoyang. The boy's slender fingers gently massaged Yi Xiaoyang's calf. His movements were gentle and professional. It didn't hurt at all. Instead, it relaxed the muscles in his leg. Yi Xiaoyang's calf was being massaged very comfortably, but his heart was beating faster and faster. He knew what Qi Shua meant. His leg had been in a cast for a month. After removing the cast, his muscles were pale and stiff, and he couldn't walk as nimbly as before. When Qi Shua massaged him, he didn't directly refuse. He could only pretend to be calm and change the topic. He smiled and teased, "Your technique is pretty good. It's quite professional." Qi Shua said, "I went online." Yi Xiaoyang was stunned, "Why are you doing this?" Qi Shua lifted his head to look at him and said lightly, "Your leg's cast has been removed, so you need to do rehabilitation. Massaging can help you recover faster, so I went to use a massage technique." Yi Xiaoyang's head exploded. His heart was beating ridiculously fast. "So he's doing this especially for me?" Yi Xiaoyang ignored his accelerated heartbeat and pretended to be forthright as he patted Qi Shua's shoulder and said, "Brother, you're too loyal. You're a good brother." Qi Shua chuckled, "Yep, brothers help each other." For some reason, Yi Xiaoyang's face inexplicably heated up when he heard the boy's low laughter. Why did he feel like Qi Shua was laughing at him? Qi Shua's voice was also very handsome. Yi Xiaoyang couldn't help but think, with this voice and appearance, how could he play sports? Even if he went to an idol drama, he could still be the male lead. What was even rarer was that Qi Shua had a good temper and was so gentle and considerate. His future mother-in-law would definitely be very happy, right? Yi Xiaoyang's imagination ran wild for a while. Qi Shua finished massaging his right leg and asked, "Do you want to massage your left leg too?" Yi Xiaoyang came back to his senses and coughed lightly, "Aren't you being too greedy?" Qi Shua said, "It's okay. You can owe me a favor first and pay me back later." Yi Xiaoyang felt like this sentence was a trap, but Qi Shua's massage technique was really too comfortable. His stiff leg muscles completely relaxed. Yi Xiaoyang consciously stretched out his left leg and let Qi Shua massage it as well. Qi Shua skillfully continued to massage him. After a while, he heard a soft snoring sound coming from above his head. This guy was so comfortable that he fell asleep. He must have been exhausted. Qi Shua was both gratified and a little heartbroken. He was gratified that even though they were in a different world, Yang still trusted him so much that he could fall asleep in front of him defenselessly. He was heartbroken that Yi Xiaoyang had actually worked very hard during this period of time in order to get results this season. Even though the first match went smoothly, in reality, Yi Xiaoyang had been studying his opponents every night until 3 a.m. He had always been a player who had a good grasp of the big picture and had a good sense of tactics. Practice groups could only decide on tactics and lineups. When it came to the actual competition, the situation could change at any moment. As for what to do, it was still up to the players to decide. Yi Xiaoyang, as the team's commander, had to bear more pressure than anyone else. As a result, he worked even harder than the other players. Qi Shua was the MVP of the first match, but Yi Xiaoyang had always been the commander. As his roommate, Qi Shua had seen all of this. Qi Shua stopped what he was doing and gently carried the sleeping Yi Xiaoyang into the bedroom and placed him on the bed. Seeing Yi Xiaoyang sleeping soundly, Qi Shua sat on the edge of the bed and gently stroked Yi Xiaoyang's cheek. He said gently, "Go to sleep. I'm here." Perhaps it was because Qi Shua's massage had relieved all of his fatigue, but Yi Xiaoyang slept very soundly that night. In his dreams, Qi Shua was gently wiping his back and massaging his legs. When he woke up the next day, Yi Xiaoyang was full of energy. He went to the training room and started a live stream. He even pulled Qi Shua into a duo. He took the initiative to introduce the other players to his fans. "I'm live streaming with my teammate today. Guess who it is?" The live stream was flooded with comments. "Is it Shuayue? Please. Let Shuayue show his face. I won the first match, so he must be handsome." Yi Xiaoyang pulled Qi Shua in front of his camera as if he was introducing a treasure. He joked, "Let me introduce to everyone, this is GD. Team's most handsome player, Shuayue." Qi Shua cooperated and greeted Yi Xiaoyang's fans. "Everyone, I'm Shuayue. I'm live streaming with my team today. Thank you for supporting GD team." Yi Xiaoyang laughed out loud. "You're official." Their faces were close together, and the fans screamed and took screenshots. "Ah, I'm dead. The two of them are so compatible in the same frame. Do you want me to cheer you up?" Qi Shua returned to his seat and started a live stream. Immediately, many fans rushed in. The two of them chatted while playing ranked, and they cooperated well to win 3 matches in a row. The fans realized that Yi Xiaoyang was obviously very happy. In the past, although Yang often joked around during his live streams, the atmosphere was different when he was live streaming with Shuayue. The intimacy and tacit understanding between them really couldn't be acted out. The two of them must have a close personal relationship, right? The fans were all speculating. Not long after, GD team met their second opponent in the regular season. Lian thought that Qi Shua's performance was only so good because of his newbie aura, so he put a jungler in this match. In the end, Qi Shua killed the jungler and played even more smoothly than in the first match. In the following group battle, his teammates cooperated to get 5 kills, the crowd applauded thunderously. Qi Shua's sharp skills and good looks quickly attracted countless fans. During the post-match interview, the reporter asked curiously, "Shuayue, I'm very curious. Why did you come up with this name? Does it have anything to do with Liang?" "Shuayue, Liang, it didn't seem like a coincidence." Qi Shua looked at the camera and said calmly, "Of course it's related. Actually, I'm a fan of Liang. In my heart, Liang is an excellent esports player. I joined GD team because of him." The fans in the interview screamed. The #1 hardcore fan, following in his idol's footsteps, joining GD team to help him win the championship, a group of Sun and Moon CP fans immediately appeared on Weibo, expressing that they had gotten some candy from the interview. After the interview, Yi Xiaoyang stopped Qi Shua and said helplessly, "What you said might affect your popularity. I have quite a lot of anti-fans in the industry." Qi Shua looked into his eyes and said, "I'm telling the truth. In my heart, you are an excellent player." Yi Xiaoyang, over the years, there had been a lot of bootlicking. Since his debut, people had praised him for his outstanding talent, his ability to see the big picture, and his outstanding commanding ability. There were even anti-fans who deliberately said that he was the best player in the world. However, Qi Shua's words made Yi Xiaoyang's heart skip a beat. Qi Shua's admiration surpassed all the flattery from the media. Because it came from the bottom of his heart. Qi Shua recognized him and thought that he was an excellent player. That was why he came to his side and even wrote a letter of recommendation, saying that he wanted to be his partner. Yi Xiaoyang suddenly felt a little touched. This was a difficult path. There was someone who unconditionally admired him, supported him, and was willing to walk with him. The warmth that rose in his heart made Yi Xiaoyang, who had always been quick with his words, speechless. He looked at Qi Shua, and Qi Shua looked back at him. In their eyes, there was only a small reflection of each other. At that moment, Yi Xiaoyang suddenly had the urge to hug Qi Shua, but Qi Shua directly did it. The moment Qi Shua gently hugged him, Yi Xiaoyang could hear his own heart beating violently. Qi Shua's voice sounded in his ear. Yang, can I call you that? Yi Xiaoyang's heart beat like a drum. Call me that's up to you. Everyone in the team called him Yang, captain. Only those who were older than him called him Yang. Qi Shua calling him that inexplicably revealed a sense of intimacy that was different from the other teammates. Qi Shua's voice was low and magnetic. When he called out Yang softly, Yi Xiaoyang felt as if an electric current was running down his spine, and his heart beat even faster. Qi Shua chuckled and said, "Believe me, you are a very outstanding person. You will definitely achieve your dreams." Yi Xiaoyang nodded. His nose was a little sour. He had once questioned himself. Was he not good enough? Was he not good enough? Otherwise, why did he always miss out on the championship? He became famous at a young age. After playing in the game for so many years, he was talented and had a good mentality. He worked very hard in every game. In private, he also seriously studied the tactics and the way of commanding. He practiced all the mid-laner heroes very well, but he was still one step away from the championship. When China lost the global finals and the truck crashed into him, he even thought that if he died just like that, how regretful would he be? In his life, he only had one dream, which was to win the championship, but he did not achieve it until his death. Fortunately, he only injured one leg, and then he met Qi Shua. Qi Shua's appreciation and affirmation of him was like a warm energy that poured into his heart. You are very outstanding. You are the player in my heart. You will definitely achieve your dreams. Qi Shua's voice echoed in his ears. Yi Xiaoyang suddenly had a strong motivation. He hugged Qi Shua gently and said seriously, "Thank you for believing in me so much." Qi Shua smiled. "Yes, let's work hard together." Yi Xiaoyang stretched out his fist. Qi Shua also stretched out his fist and bumped it with him. It was just like how the two of them would lightly bump fists every time they encouraged each other before a game in ABO World. Yi Xiaoyang felt that this scene was somewhat familiar. However, Qi Shua's gaze made his cheeks burn. He did not think too much about it. He turned around and got on the bus with his teammates. After that, the two of them continued to practice hard. GD team's results became more and more shocking. 3 wins in a row, 4 wins in a row, 10 wins in a row. The trainers were stunned. What happened to newbies will hit a bottleneck? Where was Qi Shua's bottleneck? This newbie had no F***king bottleneck, forbidden Qi Shua's jungler. Yi Xiaoyang's mid laner was a group of fierce players. Forbidden Yi Xiaoyang's mid laner. Qi Shua's jungler went on a killing spree, to target the archer, top laner, and support. However, GD team had placed second in the global finals last season. Their top laner, archer, and support were already very strong. This season, they had only changed their jungler position. The only weakness was the new jungler. In the end, the jungler became an advantage? The other teams did not know what to do. GD team won the spring competition with a perfect record. Back then, Tianheng had Qingxing, an unstable newbie, and Xujiang, who had switched to a support position, and their road to the championship was full of obstacles. GD team had the strength of the world runner-up. They only changed Qi Shua's jungler, so the run-in was very smooth. If ABO World Tianheng's championship was at nightmare difficulty, GD's championship was at normal difficulty. The two of them still had the same tacit understanding, and their teammates were very supportive. After the spring competition ended, Qi Shua privately asked Yi Xiaoyang, "Have you ever thought of winning the Grand Slam?" Yi Xiaoyang's eyes lit up. "You mean, winning the spring competition, mid-season competition, autumn competition, and global finals all year long? That's too difficult." Qi Shua said, "Don't you want to try?" Yi Xiaoyang nodded excitedly, "Yes, let's try." Nothing was impossible. This time, let's make history together. Parallel Worlds Beyond-6. After winning the spring competition, GD was invited to participate in the mid-season competition. This was an annual competition held by the officials. Each of the 12 divisions would send out the champions of the spring competition to compete with the champions of the other divisions for the title of Global Mid-Season Champion. The teams that came here were all champions of the various divisions, so the competition was extremely fierce. GD performed extremely well in the group stage. They swept the other 3 teams in Group B and advanced to the top 8 with a perfect record. Then, they won all the way to the finals and finally won the championship. The news of GD winning the mid-season competition quickly spread back to China. The fans were so excited that they left messages on the official Weibo account to congratulate them. Many people thought that after Xianxia joined GD, they were indeed stronger than last season. Last year, they came in second place in the global finals. Would they be able to win the championship this year? Most people had high hopes for GD. However, there were also many people who disagreed. They thought that GD would follow the same path as last year. They did very well in the regular season, but dropped the ball at the most critical moment in the S-League at the end of the year. After all, Xianxia had won second place several times. It was as if he was born with the championship curse. No matter what the outside world said, Xianxia was full of confidence. He had been playing competitions for so many years, and Xianxia was the most compatible teammate he had ever met. He believed that he and Xianxia could create miracles. The entire GD team flew back to Shanghai the next day. The manager invited everyone to a celebratory dinner. The club's executives were very satisfied with the results of the first half of the year. They gave the players a bonus and a few days off. There was still some time before the start of the summer competition, so the practice allowed everyone to relax. After dinner, everyone went to the karaoke shop. The group of people played a game of Truth or Dare in a lively manner. Truth or Dare was the most common game in the karaoke room. There was a wheel on the table, and there were many punishments on the wheel. Whoever's turn was to spin the needle and accept the punishment or drink. As the captain, Xianxia was the first to spin the wheel. The needle stopped at drink. Xianxia picked up the beer in front of him, opened the can, and drank it in one gulp. The surrounding teammates all cheered. "Captain is so forthright." "Who's next?" Sitting to the right of Xianxia was the top laner, Arong. With a turn of his hand, the pointer stopped at the words, "Live praise Yanga dance." Without another word, Arong tied his jacket around his waist and danced on the spot. His teammates couldn't stop laughing. The game continued one after another. Everyone was quite relaxed, and the house was filled with joy. Because Xianxia was sitting on Xiaoyang's left, the game was played counterclockwise, and he was the last to get his turn. Xianxia turned the roulette casually. After the pointer quickly spun twice, it stopped at a punishment item. Face to face with the person next to you for 30 seconds. Xianxia sat on the edge of the sofa with the karaoke machine on his left and Xiaoyang on his right. He had no choice but to turn around and look at Xiaoyang. He whispered, "Captain, please cooperate." Xiaoyang said straightforwardly, "No problem, but don't make me laugh." He had played this kind of punishment game many times before. Xiaoyang could always make his opponents laugh and drink as punishment. He thought that he would have no problem today. However, Xianxia suddenly approached him. The tips of their noses were less than a fist's distance away. Meeting those deep eyes, Xiaoyang felt as if his scalp had been electrocuted, and his heartbeat instantly lost its frequency. The surroundings were very quiet. His teammates were watching the show. Xianxia stared at Xiaoyang without moving. Xiaoyang also looked up at him. At such a close distance, they could clearly see each other's long and thick eyelashes. If they moved forward a little more, they would be able to kiss. Their breaths mingled with each other. Xiaoyang could hear the sound of his own heart beating violently. Next to him, Arong was still counting down with a stopwatch. There was a 30-second countdown. Whoever laughed first would lose. Xianxia looked at him gently. Xiaoyang's mind was blank, and his heartbeat was almost out of control. When there were only 15 seconds left on Arong's countdown, Xiaoyang was the first to lose control and quickly looked away. His cheeks were hot. He turned his head and opened a can of beer. "I accept my punishment." Then, amidst the cheers of his teammates, Xiaoyang drank a can of beer without hesitation. For some reason, he looked at Xianxia's eyes with embarrassment. Arong said doubtfully, "Brother Yang actually lost this game? Didn't you used to play this game for 30 seconds without blinking?" Xiaoyang guiltily found an excuse. "I'm not in good shape today." Arong said, "Ashua passed." Come on, let's continue. It's Captain's turn. Yi Xiaoyang took a deep breath to calm his heartbeat, and casually turned the game wheel. The pointer stopped at a punishment option. Confess to the person on your left. Yi Xiaoyang crazily cursed in his heart. Was this game wheel going against him today? Unfortunately, his tactless teammates were still jeering. Confess. Confess. Yi Xiaoyang's nose, can't we change it? Let's turn it again. His teammates, Captain can't afford to play? That's right, we'll play whatever we get. Our team's excellent style can't be destroyed. Excellent style? That's F*King bad style. Yi Xiaoyang took a deep breath and threw caution to the wind. Fine, I'll confess. Are you afraid of us? On the other hand, they were good brothers. Qi Shua shouldn't mind if they played truth or dare. With that thought, Yi Xiaoyang coughed lightly and looked at Qi Shua. He pretended to be straightforward and said, "Bro, I like it." Everyone laughed. How can you confess like that? It's an affectionate confession. The main point is the affection, understand? Captain, you're really single-handedly winning. Yi Xiaoyang's face turned red and he had no choice but to repeat himself. He looked at Qi Shua seriously and pretended to be affectionate as he said, "Qi Shua, when we play together, you always understand what I'm thinking. You're always there for me when I need you the most. I'm really happy to be your teammate. I like it." The first few words were said smoothly, but when it came to the last few words, he was stuck. For the first time, Yi Xiaoyang stuttered and almost couldn't finish his sentence. Although this was just a game and no one would take it seriously, why did he feel so flustered? When Yi Xiaoyang finished speaking, there were screams from the crowd. How touching. Are we going to become CP fans? Congratulations, Captain, for being single. Everyone was joking. No one took it seriously. But Yi Xiaoyang vaguely felt that under the dim lights of the karaoke room, Qi Shua's gaze was exceptionally gentle. That gaze made his heart beat wildly. He had no choice but to stop looking at Qi Shua the entire time and focus on drinking with the others. That night, the group of people played until 3 in the morning before returning to the base. Yi Xiaoyang was a little drunk and had to be carried back by his teammates. Qi Shua didn't drink the entire time and only drank a few glasses of juice. Everyone walked Yi Xiaoyang to the entrance of the dormitory, and Qi Shua told his teammates to go back. After helping Yi Xiaoyang into the dormitory, Qi Shua carried him all the way to the bedroom and helped Yi Xiaoyang take off his shoes and jacket before carefully covering him up. Qi Shua sat on the edge of the bed and looked at Yi Xiaoyang, whose cheeks were red from drinking. His heart softened and he couldn't help but reach out and gently stroke his hair. The texture of his hair was very similar to that of the blonde mixed-race people in the ABO world. It was still so soft. At this moment, Yi Xiaoyang suddenly opened his eyes. He looked at Qi Shua and said in a daze, "Qi Shua? Why did you dream of it again?" Qi Shua was stunned for a moment and asked in a low voice, "Do you dream of it often?" Yi Xiaoyang nodded. "Yes, I dream of scrubbing and massaging your back. I also dream of biting your neck." Qi Shua chuckled. "Biting your neck?" Yi Xiaoyang said, "It's very strange. It's like biting the back of the neck like a vampire." Qi Shua was speechless. It seemed that Yang was vaguely recalling the memory of Qi Shua's mark in the ABO world. However, his memory was not complete yet, and Qi Shua wasn't clear about the specific reason for it. Qi Shua leaned over and turned Yi Xiaoyang's head to expose the back of his fair neck. Then, he aimed at the skin on the back of his neck and gently bit it. He asked, "Is it like this?" Could this awaken his memory? The man's warm breath brushed against the sensitive back of his neck. Yi Xiaoyang wasn't drunk to the point of unconsciousness. Qi Shua's bite made him shiver. A layer of goosebumps appeared on his back, and he was instantly scared out of his drunkenness. He widened his eyes and asked, "What are you doing?" Qi Shua looked at Yi Xiaoyang and said seriously, Yang, do you like it?" When he met those gentle eyes, Yi Xiaoyang was almost tongue-tied. That was just nonsense. Don't take it to heart. Our team used to play this kind of game all the time. Last year, KK and our Rong even drank cross-cupped wine. It was just a game. Qi Shua interrupted him in a low voice. Don't you like it at All? Yi Xiaoyang was stunned by the question. Like it? Qi Shua was his teammate and his good brother. Even when he was crippled, Qi Shua scrubbed his back every day and massaged him every day after his cast was removed. He had never thought of it that way. Could a guy still say like to another guy? Qi Shua looked at his confused expression and moved closer. He stopped 5 centimeters away from the tip of Yi Xiaoyang's nose. It was just like when the two of them looked at each other during the KD Dare segment. Yi Xiaoyang's heart skipped a beat. He was lying on the bed. Qi Shua leaned closer to him. Their noses were almost touching. At such a close distance, it seemed like they would kiss each other at any moment. Yi Xiaoyang looked away in a panic. Qi Shua asked in a low voice, "Why don't you dare to look?" They were so close that when Qi Shua spoke, his warm breath blew on Yi Xiaoyang's face. At such an intimate distance, Yi Xiaoyang's brain almost stopped working. Only the bedside lamp was lit in the room. The warm light shone on the tips of Yi Xiaoyang's red ears. Qi Shua continued to ask, "Didn't you never lose when you played this game of staring at other people in the past? Why, you don't dare to look now that it's your turn?" Yi Xiaoyang. I don't know. Qi Shua moved closer, almost touching his lips. Haven't you thought about the possibility that you might like her? Yi Xiaoyang instinctively denied it. How is that possible? We're good buddies. Qi Shua wanted to laugh. He was indeed the creator of the alien forum. His world had been marked as Alpha 3 times, and he still kept calling them good buddies. It turned out that he was a fool. He had never thought in that direction. In Yi Xiaoyang's world, men could not register their marriage. Usually, people called men who were together with men gay. Yi Xiaoyang was a straight man. Straight men were good buddies. Even if there were any intimate actions, it would not cause any misunderstandings. He was a straight man, so his world treated Qi Shua as a buddy. But perhaps Xianxia was not as straight as he thought, it was just that he had not met anyone who moved him. Qi Shua gently placed his hand on Yi Xiaoyang's chest, where his heart was. Feeling his heart beating violently under his thin skin, Qi Shua bluntly exposed him. Your heart is beating very fast. Yi Xiaoyang hurriedly explained, it must be because of the alcohol. He did not quite believe this reason. Yi Xiaoyang's ears were burning. He wanted to rush Qi Shua to sleep, but in the next moment, Qi Shua suddenly leaned down and gently kissed Yi Xiaoyang's lips. Yi Xiaoyang. After the quick kiss, Qi Shua looked at him and whispered, good buddies, I really want to kiss you. Yi Xiaoyang froze on the bed. Until Qi Shua directly held the back of his head and kissed him deeply again. The boy's lips and tongue had the sweetness of fruit juice. Yi Xiaoyang pressed his head and kissed him. His brain, which had been in a daze, completely crashed. He forgot to resist, and Qi Shua quickly conquered him. Qi Shua seemed to have been holding it in for a long time. He could not stop kissing Yi Xiaoyang's lips. He gently blocked the weak sounds of resistance that escaped from his lips. Qi Shua had been in this world for nearly half a year and had been with Xianxia day and night. It had been very difficult for him to hold it in. He was worried that if he was too anxious, it would affect Xianxia's mentality and GD team's results, so he had been suppressing his strong love and longing in the bottom of his heart. Now that he had finally revealed it, Qi Shua did not want to hold it in anymore. He was sure that Xianxia liked him, but he just did not realize it. Qi Shua hugged Yi Xiaoyang and kissed him for a long time, as if he had found his lost lover. Yi Xiaoyang kissed him until his entire body went soft. After a long time, Qi Shua finally pulled back. The two of them looked at each other at close range. Yi Xiaoyang's cheeks were so hot that they were about to burn. Qi Shua chuckled and asked, are we still good buddies? Yi Xiaoyang. Qi Shua gently stroked Yi Xiaoyang's hair and said gently, Xianxia, I like you. Like I said, even without the influence of the pheromone, I would still like you. And? Parallel World 7. The next day, Yi Xiaoyang didn't wake up until noon. He went to the bathroom to wash his face under the swollen sun. When he looked in the mirror, he found that his lips were a little red and swollen. When he turned his head, he could see fresh teeth marks on the side of his neck. Damn. Could it be that Qi Shua really kissed him last night and even bit him? Yi Xiaoyang was half drunk and didn't remember what happened clearly. Now that he was completely awake, the scene last night played in front of his eyes like a slow-motion movie. Yi Xiaoyang's cheeks were boiling hot. He quickly took a cold shower to calm himself down. When he went out, he bumped into Qi Shua, who was carrying takeout into the house. Yi Xiaoyang avoided his gaze and looked at Qi Shua. Qi Shua looked as if nothing had happened. He put the takeout box on the table and picked up a pair of chopsticks. Come and eat. I ordered your favorite braised pork ribs and spicy grilled wings. Yi Xiaoyang lowered his head and came to the table. He took the chopsticks and wolfed down the food. The two of them ate face to face. Yi Xiaoyang's heart was beating fast. He remembered that before he fell asleep last night, Qi Shua asked him, even with the influence of the pheromone, I will still like you. What about you? Yi Xiaoyang couldn't help but wonder, pheromone, what is that? After quickly finishing their lunch, Yi Xiaoyang got up and was about to leave when Qi Shua suddenly grabbed his arm. You actually fell asleep when I asked you a key question last night. When you woke up, did you want to pretend to be drunk and not remember anything? Yi Xiaoyang, you guessed it right. Qi Shua stood up and stared into Yi Xiaoyang's eyes. Yang, don't run away. I really like you. Are you willing to like me? Yi Xiaoyang answered subconsciously, how can I like men? I only see you as a brother. Qi Shua interrupted him. When your brother kissed you, why didn't you push him away? Yi Xiaoyang, Qi Shua, you even closed your eyes and your heartbeat accelerated? Yi Xiaoyang, could it be explained by I was high? Yi Xiaoyang was so ashamed that he could not show his face. His face was so hot that it was about to be cooked. Qi Shua asked softly, you actually like me, don't you? It's just that you've always thought of yourself as a straight man and thought in that direction. If Arong or another teammate had kissed you last night, what would you have done? Yi Xiaoyang's scalp was about to explode at the thought of being kissed by another man. Who the F***ck dares to come? I'll beat him up and teach him how to behave. Qi Shua chuckled. I'm here. Aren't you going to beat me up? Yi Xiaoyang's ears immediately turned red. Qi Shua asked, so, I'm special in your heart, right? Yi Xiaoyang bit the bullet and admitted, yes, you're a little special. Qi Shua reached out and gently stroked Yi Xiaoyang's hair. I know that in this world, men who get together with men are not recognized by the government. They may even face a lot of resistance if they officially register their marriage. You can take your time to think about it. I won't ask you to give me an answer. I just want to tell you that no matter how difficult it is, I will face it with you. Yi Xiaoyang's heart felt like it was being gently wrapped by a pair of warm hands. When he met Qi Shua's serious eyes, he suddenly couldn't bear to reject him. He said subconsciously, give me some time. I'll think about it. He was smart enough to make a decision immediately. Qi Shua also had him. After returning to the bedroom, Yi Xiaoyang's face was burning hot. He anonymously posted on the relationship forum, I was kissed by my brother, but I didn't feel disgusted at all. He confessed to me, and I directly rejected him. Instead, my heart was beating so fast. You guys, am I gay? This time, he used the ID Earthling to post. The explosive content of the post quickly attracted a group of responses. OP, are you sure you're straight? You were kissed, but you still came to the forum to post. Didn't your brother beat you into a pig's head? I think you're already as gay as a mosquito coil. If you still don't get together, it'll be hard to end this. Yi Xiaoyang, he felt that this scene was somewhat familiar. Just like in a dream, he had also posted on an unfamiliar forum to ask for help. In the bedroom next door, Qi Shua opened the forum and saw this request for help. The familiar style of asking for help, and the ID Earthling, reminded Qi Shua of Yangyang's request for help on the forum in an alien's disguise. What should I do if I've been marked by the Alpha Brothers? When he encountered trouble with relationship issues, he came to the forum to post. How could he change this habit? Qi Shua held back his laughter and replied, OP, don't worry and be gay. He will accompany you. Yi Xiaoyang's chaotic mind finally calmed down when he saw this message. No matter what difficulties he encountered in the future, Qi Shua would accompany him to face them. It wasn't a crime to like a person, so what if he liked a man? Yi Xiaoyang had never been sloppy, and he had never been afraid of anyone. Being timid was not his style. He was indeed very attracted to Xianxia. His accelerated heartbeat during the kiss yesterday proved this point. Should he change it to someone else, if he vomited in disgust, he would definitely break his bones. But when Xianxia got close to him, not only did he reject it, but he also blushed and his heart raced. He even wanted to get closer. If this wasn't love, what else could it be? Yi Xiaoyang's mind suddenly became clear. That night, he took the initiative to treat Xianxia to a meal. The two of them went to a tea restaurant near the team and booked a private room. Yi Xiaoyang ordered a table full of delicious food. Xianxia looked at him suspiciously. Is it a festival today? Why did you order so many dishes? Yi Xiaoyang chuckled and said, it's a celebration. Xianxia asked, what are we celebrating? Yi Xiaoyang leaned over. We're celebrating that we're no longer single. Xianxia was speechless. Although Yi Xiaoyang's ears were red, his gaze was straightforward and honest. I've already thought about it. I do like you. So, let's give it a try. When Xianxia confessed to him in Abo, Yi Xiaoyang agreed on the spot. This time, he confessed last night and agreed tonight. It was only a day later. The fact that Yi Xiaoyang could come to a decision so quickly showed that he was indeed very straightforward. Xianxia looked into his bright eyes and felt his heart soften. Sure enough, no matter how much his appearance changed, Yang personality and eyes would always be Xianxia's favorite. Xianxia pulled Yi Xiaoyang into his arms and kissed him gently. Yi Xiaoyang grabbed Xianxia's shoulders and tried to respond. The two of them kissed intimately for a long time before Xianxia let go of him and chuckled. Congratulations, Yang. Yi Xiaoyang said shamelessly, congratulations, Xua, for finding a boyfriend. The two of them looked at each other, and their eyes reflected each other's tiny figures. It was as if even the air was filled with the sweetness of love. After confirming each other's feelings, Xianxia and Yi Xiaoyang became even closer. Of course, in front of their teammates, they still restrained themselves and focused on training. At night, in the dormitory, of course, there were many kisses and hugs. However, the two of them did not take the final step. After all, they still had to play in the competition. It would not affect them if they accidentally did it. In the blink of an eye, the LPL summer competition began. Because of the crazy research and targeting by the coaches of the major teams, GD's summer competition did not go as smoothly as the spring competition. They could not maintain a winning streak and lost a few small games. However, Xianxia and Yi Xiaoyang quickly adjusted and broke through the bottleneck. GD advanced to the end of the year's competition as the champions of the LPL summer competition. In the international competition, GD had bad luck in the group stages and encountered many strong opponents. The entire GD team united and finally broke out of the encirclement and advanced to the next round as the first in the group. After that, they played very well in every elimination round until the finals, where they met the most anticipated team in the Korean server, KPZ. This was also an old opponent. Last year, Yi Xiaoyang lost to them in the S competition. In the first round, Yi Xiaoyang snatched a very strong support solo, Cardmaster. Together with Xianxia's King of War, the two of them used the global teleportation system and completely destroyed the opponent's jungle at level 6. Wherever Yi Xiaoyang was, Xianxia would be there. The solo and jungler were like shadows and worked together tacitly. They landed from the sky many times and killed the opponent's C position. KPZ's players were still adjusting to the rhythm of the game when their mentality was broken by these two devils. In the second round, KPZ quickly adjusted and relied on their operations to win the game. However, Yi Xiaoyang and Xianxia gave them another chance. Yi Xiaoyang brought out his signature move, triple kill in one round, quintuple kill in the other, and ended the match with a clean 31 points. GD team won the global championship, and Yi Xiaoyang was the MVP. Yi Xiaoyang jumped up excitedly and hugged Xianxia tightly. At that moment, his eyes were hot and he even wanted to cry. After playing for so many years, he finally realized his dream of being the champion. It was not easy, Yi Xiaoyang choked and said, "Thank you, Xianxia." Xianxia knew what he was thanking him for. When Xianxia won the championship in Tianjing, the person Xianxia wanted to thank the most was Yi Xiaoyang. Thank you for coming to my side and becoming my best partner. Thank you for going through storms with me and realizing my dreams with me. If I had you, my dreams would have become an extravagant hope. I would have retired with regrets. It was because of you that my experience as an esports player came to a successful end. Not only did I win the championship that I had always dreamed of, but I also found a soulmate who has telepathy with me. How lucky am I? Qi Shua hugged Ji Xiaoyang gently and whispered in his ear, "You're welcome. Yang, it's my honor to know you." Yi Xiaoyang smiled. Me too. GD team members walked to the big stage together and picked up the championship trophy. The host was so excited that his voice trembled. Congratulations to GD team for winning the Grand Slam of the year. There has never been a team that has won all the championships in the spring, the season, the summer, and the global finals in the same year. However, GD team has done it. Wrong. I don't think anyone will forget this year. GD team has won 4 championship trophies in a row since the spring competition and won the Grand Slam of the year. GD team has created a miracle and made history. The applause was deafening. Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang stood together and picked up the championship trophy together. The dazzling light from the top of the big stage shone on them. Yi Xiaoyang looked at the golden trophy in front of him in a daze. He suddenly felt that this scene was familiar. It was like he had picked up the championship trophy with Qi Shua on a certain exciting night. At that moment, Qi Shua had also said, "Yang, thank you for coming to my side." The memory of Ling Xiao scattered in his mind like fragments. Yi Xiaoyang was stunned for a moment, but his thoughts were quickly pulled back by the excited voice of the host. GD team members accepted the interview and went to the celebration party to drink. Yi Xiaoyang went to the hotel drunk. That night, he had a very long dream. He dreamed that he went to another world and met Qi Shua. He started as a newbie streamer and received the attention of all the major teams. Qi Shua extended an olive branch to him, signed him with the highest salary, and invited him to join the Tianhuan squad. The two of them advanced hand in hand, fought side by side, and led the Tianhuan squad to win the world championship. He also dreamed that Qi Shua had bitten the back of his neck many times to mark him. Later, he had his own concept of Alpha and Omega, and Qi Shua had marked him once again. The process of that day and night was very clear in his dream, and Yi Xiaoyang's face turned red. Yi Xiaoyang woke up the next day and hurriedly took a cold shower. During the competition, he and Qi Shua stayed in a double room. In this world, there were differences between Alpha and Omega, so it was normal for male teammates to stay in double rooms. As a result, Qi Shua saw Yi Xiaoyang's back as he hurried to the bathroom. His walking posture was a little strange. Yi Xiaoyang took a long shower in the bathroom. Qi Shua got up and knocked on the door suspiciously. Yang, what's the matter? Are you not feeling well? Yi Xiaoyang's muffled voice came from the other side of the door. What? I'm not feeling well. Don't talk to me. Qi Shua? What was he doing so early in the morning? Qi Shua was very suspicious, but Yi Xiaoyang had an explanation. At noon, everyone took a plane to China. Yi Xiaoyang closed his eyes to catch up on sleep during the 10-hour flight. Qi Shua didn't want to disturb him, so he consciously let Yi Xiaoyang lean on his shoulder so that he could sleep more comfortably. After the flight, they were interviewed by reporters and were busy chatting. It wasn't until dawn when everyone arrived at the team's dormitory that Qi Shua gently held Yi Xiaoyang's hand and asked, "What's wrong? I don't seem to be in the right state today." Yi Xiaoyang scratched his head, almost digging his toes into the ground. I remember everything now." Qi Shua was stunned and asked tentatively, "What do you remember?" Yi Xiaoyang wanted to cry but had no tears. "If *** king turned gay for you twice." Qi Shua, seeing Yi Xiaoyang's fierce tone and flushed ears, Qi Shua finally understood what he meant. He chuckled and hugged Yi Xiaoyang, saying in a low voice, "What's the difference between marking once and twice? Isn't this you? What's the difference between bending once and bending twice?" Yi Xiaoyang's face turned red. "That's enough." Qi Shua hugged him tightly and said with relief, "This is you. There are Alpha and Omega, and there is also a world of pheromones?" Yi Xiaoyang nodded. "Yes." After a pause, Yi Xiaoyang asked suspiciously, "By the way, why are you here? Didn't I die in a car accident back then? How did I get resuscitated this time and meet you here?" Xianxia said, when I first came here, I was also very suspicious. It wasn't until I saw your photo and looked up your information that I speculated that the world we're in might be a parallel world. Yi Xiaoyang was stunned. Parallel world? Do you mean that both worlds exist? Yes. Xianxia explained patiently, the world I'm in won't disappear into thin air. You're also a real existence in this world. I've heard of a hypothesis that when humans make different choices at a critical juncture, they will split into different parallel worlds. On the day you were hit by a truck, your consciousness came to my world. On the day you were resuscitated, my consciousness came to your world? Yi Xiaoyang digested this information with mixed feelings. If the two worlds coexisted but the flow of time was different, then he had helped Xianxia realize his wish in Xianxia's world. Xianxia had come here again and helped him realize his dream of becoming a champion. Across two different time and space, their appearances and voices were completely different. The only similarity was that they still appreciated each other, understood each other, and had developed an unparalleled tacit understanding. It was a resonance that came from the soul. Yi Xiaoyang took a deep breath and looked at Xianxia. No matter what, thank you so much this time. I finally have no regrets. He had won the world championship. He could finally live up to the coach who had trained him, the teammates who had fought side by side with him, and the fans who had liked him for so many years. He could retire with regrets and a clear conscience. It was Xianxia who had helped him realize all of this. Xianxia looked at Yi Xiaoyang gently. This is what I should do. Yi Xiaoyang gently held Xianxia's hand. By the way, there's a question I want to answer. Xianxia asked, What's the question? Yi Xiaoyang said seriously, even if you're influenced by alpha, omega, and pheromones, you'll still like me. Actually, I'm the same. He stood on tiptoe and gently kissed Xianxia's lips. In a world with pheromones, I'll still like you. It's nothing. I just like you. The wedding of the century, when Xianxia woke up, Yi Xiaoyang was sleeping in his arms. His soft blonde hair rubbed against the skin of his chest, giving him a slightly itchy feeling. The blonde mixed-race boy in his arms was the Omega Yi Xiaoyang he was most familiar with. Xianxia was stunned for a long time before he realized that he had returned to the ABO world. The experience of winning the S competition with Yi Xiaoyang and winning the Grand Slam seemed like a dream. He stretched out his arms and gently hugged Yi Xiaoyang. Yi Xiaoyang woke up at that moment. He looked up and was stunned when he saw Xianxia's eyes. He couldn't help but ask, Are we back? Xianxia's appearance in the two worlds was also different. Yi Xiaoyang could tell at a glance that he was the alpha Xianxia. Xianxia, yes, you've become an omega again. Traveling through time and space couldn't be explained by science. Yi Xiaoyang's soul could come to this world, and Xianxia could also find him in the other world. They would fall in love with each other in both worlds. What was the difference between where they were? Perhaps, they would also accompany each other through the rest of their lives in parallel worlds. Yi Xiaoyang thought of this and his brows finally relaxed. That's good. I'll help you win the championship, and you'll help me fulfill my wish. We won't have any regrets in both worlds. Xianxia looked at him gently. I didn't expect that you would like me in the other world. In your world, boys falling in love with boys is very confusing, isn't it? Yi Xiaoyang's ears turned red. What's wrong? I've turned gay for you twice. Are you proud? Xianxia chuckled and kissed his forehead. Yang, let's go get the marriage certificate. What? Yi Xiaoyang was stunned. Go to the political bureau to get the marriage certificate and officially become a legal husband. Xianxia looked into Yi Xiaoyang's eyes seriously. The wedding can be postponed. Let's register our marriage first and confirm our relationship, okay? Since she had already agreed to Xianxia's proposal, it didn't seem to matter whether she registered it or not. Thinking of this, Yi Xiaoyang simply said, All right, I'll look for my household register later and pick a time to register. Yi Xiaoyang did things swiftly and decisively. Early the next morning, the two of them appeared at the entrance of Star City's municipal bureau. It happened to be Monday. The staff of the political bureau had just come to work when they saw two tall boys holding hands appear in the registration hall. Both of them were wearing sunglasses and masks, so it was impossible to see their faces clearly. When they walked into the studio to take photos, they took off their masks. The employee of the political bureau was attracted by the appearance of the two and secretly asked his colleague, "These two handsome guys are so good-looking. Could they be celebrities?" The boys who were paying attention to the esports competition were so excited that they almost cried out, "It's Sun God and Captain Chi." "Oh my God, I've eaten a big melon." The two of them just made an official announcement not long ago, and they actually registered their marriage so quickly? The photographer took a digital photo of the marriage certificate for the two of them. The blonde mixed-blood Omega had a brilliant smile, while the Alpha had a gentle look in his eyes as he pulled his Omega into his arms. Marriage was free in the ABO world, so the process of registering a marriage was very simple. The two of them only needed to sign the voluntary marriage consent form and verify the information. The political bureau would then issue a marriage certificate to them on the spot. In less than 15 minutes, the marriage certificate was printed out, one copy at a time. Omega male, Yi Xiaoyang, Alpha male, Qi Shua, voluntary marriage registration. Registration date, January 3, 2022. The fans of the political bureau staff said excitedly, "I wish the two of you a happy and blissful life together." Qi Shua took the initiative to give out wedding candies to the staff before holding Yi Xiaoyang's hand and leaving the political bureau. "Staff, am I the first person to eat wedding candies for the Sun God and Moon CP?" The political bureau needed to keep the registration information confidential, so they couldn't say anything about Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang's marriage registration for the time being. However, the experience of receiving candies on the spot was something that other CP fans could never experience. Perhaps this was the benefit of working in the political bureau. At the door, Yi Xiaoyang flipped open the red booklet of the marriage certificate and looked at it again and again. The more he looked at it, the happier he felt. The marriage certificate was just a piece of paper. The key was whose name was written on it. Qi Shua saw him looking at the marriage certificate again and couldn't help but smile. He whispered, "What do you think? Don't you think that the two of them on the certificate look quite compatible?" Yi Xiaoyang smiled. "Yes, I'm completely bound to you now." The two of them looked at each other and reached out their hands in tacit understanding, interlocking their fingers. Today's weather was clear and sunny. They walked hand in hand on the road. The warm sunlight shone on the two of them, and their shadows overlapped on the ground. Even the frequency of their heartbeats seemed to gradually synchronize. After registering their marriage, the two of them suddenly felt very happy. They both knew that this certificate was the best promise they could give to each other. After the start of the regular season, Yi Xiaoyang and Qi Shua were still active on the field. However, they focused on nurturing new players. Yi Xiaoyang officially accepted Team 2's mid-laner, Xie Xiaotian, as his disciple and imparted his experience and knowledge. Qi Shua was also leading Team 2's jungler. Last season, Tianheng's Team 2 made it to Group B in the preseason and was scolded by netizens. Last season, the children of Tianhuan Team 2 had made it into Group A in the preseason competition and were ranked first in Group A. It was obvious. Under the nurturing of Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang, Team 2's rookies improved very quickly. The situation of a shortage of new players would not happen again. The new generation of rookies was full of youthful energy, with strong awareness, and a stable mentality. This was the most precious treasure that Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang left for Tianhuan squad. S11. Tianheng won the World Championship once again and successfully defended their title. 2 consecutive World Championships were a fierce slap to the face of some countries' media. The Sun and Moon team also created a miracle in the history of the professional league. No one questioned who the world's #1 mid-laner was. Sunshine and Moonlight became the immortal couple in the hearts of esports fans all over the world. The rookies were constantly improving, and Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang could finally leave with peace of mind. After S11 ended, Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang released a statement together. Tianheng Shuoyue and Tianheng Liang jointly released a statement. "The few years in Tianheng were the most unforgettable experiences of our lives. Thank you to all the staff, coaches, and teammates in Tianheng for your support and understanding. Thank you to many outstanding pairs for your encouragement. Our career as an esports campaigner will eventually come to an end. Our love will never end. See you all." When the fans in Tianheng saw the statement, they all cried. Many people urged them to stay on Weibo, hoping that they would not leave and that they would continue to compete. Yes, there would come a day when they would retire as a professional player. Between the two options, retiring was the most rational choice. They had created a new era of esports and retired with success, leaving behind a legend. They had also groomed the next batch of successors for Tianheng. There were no regrets in retiring like this. Training and competitions were very tiring for a professional player. After retiring, the two of them would stream, play ranked games, and have fun every day. Their lives would be more relaxed and carefree. Although the fans who truly liked them were sad and reluctant to part with them, they could understand their decision and sent their blessings to them. Thank you to the Sun and Moon duo for bringing us so much excitement. You guys are the best. Sun and Moon shine together YYDS. It's good to retire. We won't be so busy. We can stream more in the future. That night, Xianxia and Xiaoyang started a live broadcast on Whale platform. Many fans came to watch them. Xianxia comforted them in a low voice, "Don't be sad, everyone. Retiring doesn't mean leaving completely. We just won't be competing in the future. We will still stream more often." Xiaoyang echoed, "That's right. If you miss us, you can come watch us in the live broadcast. My little white is also here." A familiar white ragdoll kitten appeared in front of the camera. They still remembered when Xiaoyang first streamed, the kitten was only a few months old. Today, little white had grown up a lot. It had a round head and big blue eyes. It was almost 3 times its original size. The only thing that hadn't changed was that it still liked to play with fur balls on the sofa. Many of the old fans couldn't help but feel a lump in their throat when they saw the scene. Over the past 2 years, the newbie streamer they followed had become the best and strongest Omega in the world. He had even found an equally strong alpha partner. There was no way to be jealous. Besides Xianxia, who else could be worthy of Xiaoyang? Besides Xiaoyang, who else could stand beside Xianxia? The two of them were a match made in heaven. Even if the fans were biased towards one of them, they would still be willing to give them their blessings when they saw them together. Many of the big fans in the live broadcast began to flood the bullet screen with questions. When are you two going to have your wedding? I've even thought of the names of your children. Hurry up and get married. Get married, it's already been a year. Xiaoyang responded frankly, the wedding date hasn't been set yet. I'll let everyone know when it's confirmed. Thank you for your concern. Xianxia and Xiaoyang were sitting together. When they heard this, they whispered, let's discuss the wedding location and the details with the wedding company tomorrow. Xiaoyang nodded, yes, we have to decide on a place for our honeymoon as soon as possible. The netizens? In front of millions of netizens in the live broadcast room, the two of you are discussing a wedding, a honeymoon, and publicly feeding us dog food. Is this okay? The real reason you retired was to get married, go on a honeymoon, and live the life of a shameless husband and wife? The bullet screen in the live broadcast room flew up. Mom asked me why I didn't eat dinner. Because I ate dog food until I was full. If you're hungry in the future, come and watch their live broadcast. Eat until you're full. Burn this couple to death. What? Liang and Shuayue? Then burn me to death to liven things up. A few days later, Xianxia posted a marriage announcement on Weibo. The two of them decided to hold their wedding on March 25, Xiaoyang's birthday. Xianxia booked an island in the south and invited all his friends in the industry to attend. On the day of the wedding, the private island was bustling with noise and excitement. Needless to say, the entire Tianhuan squad attended. Su Zhua, Fang Jingqing, Xia Yuan, Chen Qianhua, Xia Weiyu, Zhou Jiawen, Xiao En, Zhao Sinan, and Zhao Xinping attended the event. Yao Mu, Xiao Wei, Brother Dong, and even Chairman Qiu of the League of Legends were there to congratulate them. The lineup of guests was even more luxurious than the esports all-stars. The wedding venue was also very interesting. It was directly based on the canyon map of Clash of Gods 1, with the top, middle, bottom, and jungle. There was also a live broadcast screen that repeatedly played Xianxia and Xiaoyang's wedding VCR. It was a familiar style, and it was obvious that it was edited by Xiaoning Xujiang. Qingxing and Xia Xiaoyan's two disciples played the role of welcoming guests at the wedding. The two youths were dressed in costumes with fresh flowers on their chests. They were so excited that their faces were flushed red as they led the guests to their seats one by one. A large number of seats were placed in the jungle for the guests to watch the ceremony. The top and bottom roads were covered with roses that symbolized love, while the middle road led directly to the crystal. The shape of the crystal was very exquisite, and the raised glass table was placed on the beach for the wedding vows. Zhao Sinan looked at the familiar canyon wedding venue and couldn't help but complain. The two of them attracted hatred even when holding a wedding. Swearing on the enemy's crystal, how creative. Zhao Xinping said calmly, they know about games. The wedding venue was built according to the game map, which also proves their love for games. Zhao Sinan remembered the statement that the two had made when they retired. The career of an esports campaign would come to an end. Love would never end. The magnified wedding venue on the canyon map proved this point. There were a lot of esports players among the guests, and this kind of wedding venue made the crowd feel very close. At 12 noon, the wedding officially began. The master of ceremonies was Qi Shua's master, Mingxing. Mingxing stood in front of the crystal and said with a smile, "Guests, thank you very much for taking the time to attend Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang's wedding. Let's welcome the two newcomers with a warm round of applause." Under the applause of the audience, Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang were dressed in clean and tidy clothes and walked from the middle road to the vow stage. The two of them were dressed as a couple. One of them was wearing a tie, while the other was wearing a bow tie. They were very compatible. Yi Xiaoyang was not shy at all. He even smiled and waved at the surrounding guests. The two of them walked to the crystal stage and stood still. Mingxing looked at them and asked loudly, "Mr. Qi Shua, do you and Mr. Yi Xiaoyang become husband and wife? Do you and Mr. Qi Shua respect each other, cherish each other, and stay by each other's side until old age?" Qi Shua whispered, "I do." Mingxing continued to ask, "Mr. Yi Xiaoyang, do you and Qi Shua become husband and wife? Do you and Mr. Qi Shua respect each other, cherish each other, and stay by each other's side until old age?" Yi Xiaoyang nodded decisively. "I do." Mingxing asked, "Is there anyone present who objects to the two of them becoming husband and wife?" There was an uproar around. No one dares to object. "I'm afraid they'll kill me." "Ha ha ha, Qi Shua is on the road with a knife." "I'm more afraid of Yangyang's staff, okay?" Mingxing smiled and said, "Okay, no one dares to object. Now, I announce that Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang are officially husband and wife. Qi Shua can kiss his omega now. Of course, if Yangyang wants to take the initiative to kiss his alpha, it's also possible." There was a burst of laughter around. Qi Shua looked at Yi Xiaoyang tenderly. Sure enough, the shameless omega Yi Xiaoyang took the initiative to tiptoe and gently kissed Qi Shua. The alphas at the scene were speechless. F***K, so envious. After the wedding ceremony, Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang came to toast the guests. When they toasted Zhao Sinan, Qi Shua gave him a thick red packet and said, "This is a little gift from Yangyang and me. It's a thank you gift for the matchmaker." Zhao Sinan was so excited that he drank all the wine in one gulp. He took the red packet and said proudly, "I can finally hold my head high for once, haha. Today, everyone gave you red packets at the wedding. Only I received red packets from you." The crowd was speechless. Okay, the hatred was transferred to Zhao Sinan. Zhao Sinan picked up the microphone and said, "As the frontline secretary, I have a question for Qi Shua." Qi Shua said, "Ask away." Zhao Sinan was curious. "Today is Yi Xiaoyang's birthday. Why did you hold a wedding on such a special day?" Qi Shua said, "Birthdays represent a new life. It's the day everyone comes to the next world. I'm very grateful that Yangyang came to my world. For me, his arrival is a new life. Because of you, my life is more exciting." Yi Xiaoyang's arrival in this world was a coincidence, but for Qi Shua, it was a new life. What they meant to each other was not only love, but also, they had finally found the home of their souls. Yi Xiaoyang understood what Qi Shua meant. The two of them hugged each other tightly amidst the applause of the guests. On the endless blue sea, in the middle of the Battle of the Gods canyon decorated by the wedding company, jungler Shuoyue and mid-laner Liang hugged each other tightly. This was their wedding. It wasn't particularly grand, but it was warm and lively. They got married amidst the blessings of their relatives and friends. They swore in the wedding vows, in the future, they would respect each other, cherish each other, and grow old together. Honeymoon trip. After the wedding, the guests left one after another. Xianxia and Xiaoyang began their honeymoon trip. The two of them flew to a well-known private island. This island was known as a honeymoon paradise. The sea was clear and blue, and the beach was very white and delicate. It felt very soft when barefoot. What was even rarer was that this private island had a VIP service. Xianxia had booked a time in advance, so the island would belong to the two of them for the next month. No strange tourists would disturb them. There was a 24-hour service on the island, and a chef personally cooked delicious food for everyone to enjoy at any time. The hotel where the service staff was staying was quite far away from where Xianxia and Xiaoyang were staying. So even if the two of them made out in the house, they wouldn't have to worry about being overheard. The honeymoon suite that Xianxia booked was a 2-story villa with a sea view. There was an endless pool on the first floor, and the master bedroom on the second floor had a glass roof with a view of the starry sky. Xiaoyang liked it very much. After moving in, he changed into a swimsuit and swimming trunks. Xianxia also swam in with him, and the two of them had a good time in the pool. After the swim, Xianxia and Xiaoyang put on a bathrobe and called for a table full of delicious food. The two of them enjoyed the sea breeze on the balcony as they ate a candlelit dinner. They finally eased the fatigue of the past few days of the wedding. In order to prepare for the wedding, the two of them had been busy for half a month. They had set the venue, taken wedding photos, written the invitations, bought the gifts, and confirmed every single detail. Now that the wedding was over, the two of them could finally relax and enjoy their time together. Xiaoyang took the initiative to raise his goblet. "Come, let's have a toast to our upcoming married life." Xianxia looked at him and said, "You seem to have forgotten that I can't hold my liquor very well." Xiaoyang said, "I didn't forget. That's why I replaced my glass with Coke." Xianxia raised his glass and clinked it with Xiaoyang's. Xiaoyang raised his glass again and said, "Come, let's have another toast to our smooth retirement." Xianxia was puzzled. "Why are you so keen on drinking Coke?" Xiaoyang winked at him. "I'm in a good mood." Xianxia smiled and downed the entire glass of cola in one gulp. Reaching out with his long arms, he carried Xiaoyang into the bedroom and placed him on the bed. He leaned over and circled his arms around him. "What are you planning?" "No." Xiaoyang took the initiative to kiss him. Xianxia immediately kissed Xiaoyang back, and the two of them made out in the bedroom. Gradually, Xianxia sensed that something was wrong. The smell of the pheromone in the room was getting stronger. It was not his alpha pheromone but Xiaoyang omega pheromone. Xianxia's entire body was hot, which was a sign that he was about to enter the susceptibility stage. The strange thing was that Xiaoyang was also burning up. His head was drenched in sweat. Xianxia suddenly stopped what he was doing. "What's going on?" Xiaoyang said shamelessly, "Actually, I went to the doctor to get it. It can make the omega enter the susceptibility stage immediately and the alpha enter the susceptibility stage. I heard that couples on their honeymoon have balls." Xianxia resisted the urge to punish him on the spot and said in a hoarse voice, "Who told you that?" Xiaoyang, netizens on the forum. Xianxia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Did you continue to ask for help on the alien forum?" Xiaoyang admitted frankly, "Yes, I did." "Do the omega need to prepare anything for the honeymoon?" "The netizens asked me to bring some pheromone-releasing agents so that the alpha can complete the marking." They had already done the marking. The marking could not be done only once. Every year, when the omega's passion came, the alpha could complete the marking. It had been a year since the last marking. In this year, the two of them had been training new players, teaching apprentices, playing in competitions, and leading Tianheng to another world championship. They had been very busy for the whole year. When they were in the team, it was not convenient to be intimate in private. Xianxia had actually wanted to go to Yangyang for a long time. Although Xiaoyang didn't say it, he was a little eager in his heart. Last time, Xianxia had tormented him for a day and a night. The experience of being marked by the alpha that night was shameful, but also fresh and exciting. He wanted to try again. So this time, it was Yi Xiaoyang's turn to take the initiative. First, Qi Shua had a glass of red wine. The alpha with poor alcohol tolerance might enter the susceptible period. Yi Xiaoyang also added something to his wine, an omega-releasing agent, which could make the omega immediately enter the passion. In this way, when the alpha's susceptible period met the omega's passion, wouldn't it be like thunder stirring up the fire? Maybe it would be more intense and exciting than the last time. Yi Xiaoyang looked at Qi Shua expectantly. Anyway, we're married. There's no need to be shy between husband and wife. Come on, just don't hurt me. Qi Shua, he probably married the most unrestrained omega in the world. Qi Shua gently patted Yi Xiaoyang's head. If you do that, I might lose control. Yi Xiaoyang muttered, then I'd like to see you lose control. Qi Shua didn't hold back anymore and kissed his omega passionately. How could Qi Shua resist the omega who took the initiative to take the release agent? The weather tonight was very good. The panoramic glass window above their heads clearly showed the bright starry sky. In the endless sky, the Fanqing was flashing, as if witnessing the sweetness of the two. The scene was similar to the sky, making the two more embarrassed and romantic in their hearts. The temperature in the bedroom gradually rose. Yi Xiaoyang's whole body soon became sore and weak. He completely surrendered himself to the alpha in front of him. After Qi Shua entered the susceptible period, he did lose control a little. He tossed and turned a little hard. The first night, he didn't succeed in marking. He regained his consciousness the next day and asked the housekeeper to deliver food to the two of them. The housekeeper knew that the two of them were newlyweds on their honeymoon, so he tactfully didn't enter the room to disturb them. The food was also light and delicious seafood porridge and steak, which were enough to fill their stomachs and replenish their nutrients. Qi Shua fed Yi Xiaoyang at the bedside to let Yi Xiaoyang replenish his strength before continuing to mark. Yi Xiaoyang was tossed and turned the whole night. His eyes were red and his voice was hoarse. Didn't you get better in one day last time? Why isn't it better this time? Qi Shua kissed him gently. You took the release agent, so the process may be longer. The moment Qi Shua kissed him again, Yi Xiaoyang trembled and closed his eyes. The process of marking this time was more intense than the first time, and it lasted longer. After 3 days and 3 nights of shameful experience, Yi Xiaoyang was completely marked by Qi Shua again. The pheromones of the two of them blended together, as if their souls had merged. Yi Xiaoyang leaned lazily in Qi Shua's arms and didn't move. Qi Shua hugged him and whispered, "Do you want to take the morning after contraceptive?" Yi Xiaoyang froze for a moment, then realized that he was an omega who could get pregnant. He hurriedly said, "Take it, I'm not ready to be a father yet." Qi Shua kissed his forehead. "Okay, I'll get it for you." Qi Shua asked the housekeeper to buy Yi Xiaoyang a contraceptive and poured some warm water for Yi Xiaoyang to take. After Yi Xiaoyang finished eating, he asked nervously, "Qi Shua, do you like children?" "I can't say that I like or hate them." Qi Shua gently held Yi Xiaoyang's hand and said, "I know that in your world, men can't get pregnant and have children. It must be very difficult for you to accept that you're pregnant. So, when it comes to children, I completely respect your vision. If you want it, you can have it. If you don't want it, we won't want it." Yi Xiaoyang's heart warmed. He held Qi Shua's hand and said, "Thank you for your understanding. Actually, I feel quite strange being marked by you. It's even stranger to have a baby in my belly." Cough, cough. Qi Shua's muffled laughter came from above his head. Yi Xiaoyang's cheeks burned from his laughter. He imagined himself with a big belly, but he still couldn't imagine it. Being marked by Qi Shua had already refreshed his worldview. If he were to have another baby, he could completely abandon his worldview. Would he be able to escape back to Earth overnight? Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang spent a sweet time on the beautiful island. The two of them seemed to have lost contact with the whole world and were immersed in their own world. They were extremely relaxed and happy. Other than the time when they were completely marked, the two of them also tried different positions later. Even without the help of the susceptibility period and the estrus period, the two of them gradually became more compatible physically. After returning from their honeymoon, Yi Xiaoyang and Qi Shua officially moved to a new place. This villa was the wedding house they bought together. It was very spacious and had been renovated. In particular, the specially designed gaming room could easily accommodate 2 computers, making it convenient for the two of them to play games and do live broadcasts. After retiring, Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang still used Shuayue and Liang as their names. They just removed the prefix Tianheng. The two of them would either play as a duo or play online games together. Fans would also often come to watch the two of them play live. The bullet comment section was always lively and full of joy. 3 months later. One weekend, Yi Xiaoyang went to the hospital for a checkup as usual. It was the time for the annual Omega checkup according to the hospital's regulations. Qi Shua also went with him. After the results of the blood test came out, the doctor suddenly asked Yi Xiaoyang, "When was the last time you had sex?" Yi Xiaoyang said bluntly, "When we went on our honeymoon. It was 3 months ago." The doctor asked, "Did you take any contraceptive measures at that time?" Yi Xiaoyang nodded. "Yes, I took the morning after pill." The doctor handed the results of the checkup to Yi Xiaoyang. "You're pregnant. The child is already 3 months old. It should have been during your honeymoon." Yi Xiaoyang was speechless. What the F***K, how could she still be pregnant? Then why did he and Qi Shua do it once every 2 or 3 days without any shame? Yi Xiaoyang's eyes widened. "But I took the morning after pill." The doctor said, "The morning after pill can fail." Yi Xiaoyang was speechless. He first performed a split JPG on the spot. Was this a F***king fake product? How could it fail? The doctor comforted him. "Don't worry, the ingredients of the seed are not harmful to the child. I've seen many emergency situations related to alpha babies. Omega babies who took the morning after pill and failed to get pregnant ended up having healthy babies." Yi Xiaoyang looked like he was doubting life and reached out to touch his flat belly. A man could actually get pregnant. This was indeed an unscientific world. Wait a minute, the child was already 3 months old. He didn't seem to have any reaction? He didn't experience any morning sickness, nausea, or drowsiness at all. He killed people in the game every day. At night, he did intimate things with Qi Shua and unlocked all kinds of positions. Yi Xiaoyang helplessly held his forehead. He was probably the most heartless Omega father. Yi Xiaoyang walked out of the door with the checkup report. Qi Shua was waiting anxiously outside the door. When he saw Yi Xiaoyang, he immediately greeted him. "How is it? The results are fine, right?" Yi Xiaoyang handed him the report and said helplessly, "It's a big problem. I'm pregnant." Qi Shua was stunned. Pregnant? He looked down and saw that the checkup result clearly showed that she was 3 months pregnant. In the ultrasound image, there was a deep shadow. It was their unborn baby. Qi Shua's heart was filled with a strange softness. He was silent for a moment and whispered to Yi Xiaoyang, "It's a child. Do you want to keep it or?" Yi Xiaoyang looked at the dumpling in the picture and said with a smile, "Since it's here, let's keep it." He didn't know who the child looked like. Yi Xiaoyang hadn't seen Qi Shua before. When there was a miniature version of Qi Shua following behind and calling him daddy, Yi Xiaoyang's whole heart softened. Although he wasn't ready to be a father. Yes, many things in the world didn't happen when you were ready. External and unexpected surprises were always caught off guard. Happy life. In the past, Yi Xiaoyang would never have imagined that he would be pregnant as a man. But now, looking at the shadow in the ultrasound picture, he suddenly felt that it wasn't that big of a deal after all. Wasn't it just a baby in his stomach? In the eyes of the people in this world, it was very normal for an Omega to get pregnant. He wasn't dragged by scientists to be dissected for research, and he didn't receive any strange looks when he walked on the streets. After all, it was very common for men in this world to get pregnant. His family was already used to it. Yi Xiaoyang ignored the awkwardness in his heart and reached out to touch his stomach. He was quite looking forward to seeing what this little cutie, who had inherited his Qi Shua genes, would grow up to be. Would it be a boy or a girl? That night, when they returned to the villa, Qi Shua turned on his computer and put up a leave of absence notice in his livestream room. "I have to deal with some matters in the next few days, so I will temporarily suspend my livestream. My family doesn't need to wait." Similarly, Yi Xiaoyang also applied for leave from his livestream room. The netizens speculated. Both of them stopped their live streams at the same time. What are they dealing with? These two professional dog feeders, don't tell me they went on a secret honeymoon again? In fact, Xianxia only stopped his livestream to take Yi Xiaoyang for a detailed checkup. The unexpected pregnancy caught them off guard, but since this child was here, it was a gift from the heavens. Since they decided to give birth to him, they had to be responsible for him. Yi Xiaoyang was insensitive and didn't know what a man should do when he was pregnant. Xianxia also had no experience in this area. He took Yi Xiaoyang to the hospital's obstetrics department for a detailed checkup. Then, he invited a professional obstetrician to teach the two of them about pregnancy. For example, which vegetables and fruits were good for the baby's development, which things pregnant people shouldn't eat, which was more appropriate for them to exercise less every day, and how long they should sleep, etc. Right now, Yi Xiaoyang couldn't act recklessly, and he couldn't accompany the little white cat to jump up and down. He had to consider whether the baby in his stomach could take it. Yi Xiaoyang also listened very seriously and took notes as he listened. When the two of them returned home, Yi Xiaoyang looked at the thick stack of test results and breathed a sigh of relief. He said, "The test results are pretty good. Our child should be very healthy." Xianxia hugged him gently and said softly, "Thank you for your hard work. The expected date of delivery is January next year." Yi Xiaoyang couldn't help but get excited at the thought of a cute baby coming to them next January. He turned to look at Xianxia and said, "When you bought this house, I thought the rooms were too small. Now it seems that you've taken the children's room into consideration, right? You really have foresight." As he spoke, he stood up and walked towards the empty room on the second floor. "The children's room is still empty. We need to buy some new furniture. Let's go buy some furniture tomorrow." Xianxia looked at his excited expression and said helplessly, "The child can't sleep in the children's room before he is 3 years old. Buying a baby bed is enough." Yi Xiaoyang stopped in his tracks and coughed softly. "Ahem, you're right. Let's wait until the baby is born before we buy it. If it's a boy, we'll buy a blue bed. If it's a girl, we'll buy a pink one." Xianxia gently rubbed his head. "Girls don't necessarily like pink." Yi Xiaoyang was stunned for a moment. Then, he heard Xianxia add, "Don't forget that in our world, there are still female alphas. For example, Zhao Xinping likes black." Yi Xiaoyang, he almost forgot that he couldn't use the logic of his previous world to judge the men and women of this world. Do girls like pink? Girls like to wear skirts. If it was a girl with an A personality, she would probably dislike these things that were too cute. If it was a gentle and cute Omega boy, it was also possible that he liked pink, right? Yi Xiaoyang rubbed his nose awkwardly. In other words, before the second gender was created, we didn't have a baby's personality either? Xianxia nodded. That's right. Yi Xiaoyang asked curiously, then how do parents in the ABO world choose when they're preparing children's products for their babies? Xianxia, it doesn't matter in the infancy stage. Babies don't have the concept of what they like or dislike. When they reach kindergarten, they choose based on the child's personality. So, you don't have to be too surprised if you see a little boy with a pink backpack or a little girl with a black leather jacket who is dressed very coolly. Yi Xiaoyang, the world with 6 different personalities was indeed rich and colorful. Yi Xiaoyang was looking forward to the kind of baby Xianxia would give birth to even more. The next day, when Shuayue and Liang resumed their livestream, countless netizens immediately flooded into the livestream to show their concern. "Where have you been these past few days? You've been offline for so long. Is Yang okay? What happened at home that the two of you had to deal with it together?" Yi Xiaoyang Fong said, "Don't worry, there's nothing wrong. Actually, it's because I'm pregnant, so Ashua took me to the hospital for a checkup." The netizens. Pregnant? As expected of my son God, he spoke so casually about being pregnant. Unlike some celebrities who were still secretive about being pregnant and deceiving the netizens like they were fools. Yi Xiaoyang's honesty caused countless netizens to excitedly spam 6666. Some netizens were curious and gossiped. Judging from the time, it couldn't have been during the honeymoon, right? Yang, you're amazing, you have a baby so quickly? Yi Xiaoyang joked. Actually, I took contraceptives, and we didn't plan on having a baby so quickly. However, the contraceptives didn't work, so it's fate. The The netizens in the livestream, 6,666. Even the contraceptives didn't work, your babies are really amazing. Some netizens sent a bullet screen to tease, the child of a world-level solo jungler, his genes come with, flash. The baby dodged the contraceptives with, flash, ha ha ha. This baby is too awesome, he has the potential to be a devil before he's even born. Two handsome fathers, the baby must be very cute. The news of Liaoyang's pregnancy quickly became a trending topic. Netizens in the circle all forwarded it, congratulations, congratulations. The speed of a world-level solo jungler is really extraordinary. This skills hit rate is too high. The netizens' comments mocking the two of them became more and more numerous. Zhao Sinan immediately sent a private message to Yi Xiaoyang, does your baby still need a godfather? Xie Weiyu sent a message, I've already prepared a gift for the baby. Qing Xing was so excited that he couldn't speak coherently, brother Yang, master has a baby. Netizens in the esports circle were all looking forward to the birth of a baby from the two devil kings. As time passed, the baby in the womb gradually grew bigger. Yi Xiaoyang wasn't as careful as other pregnant omegas. He was still full of energy every day, walking around the neighborhood with Qi Shua to exercise his muscles and bones. Qi Shua personally took care of the food and cooked for Yi Xiaoyang according to the nutritionist's menu. Yi Xiaoyang gained a full 20 kilograms. Of course, he was already very thin, so gaining 20 kilograms didn't make him lose his figure. His belly wasn't obvious, and it couldn't be seen at all if he wore slightly looser clothes. In the blink of an eye, it was the end of the year. December 31st, Qi Shua's 26th birthday. As usual, Yi Xiaoyang bought Qi Shua a cake to celebrate. After the two cut the cake, before they could eat it, Yi Xiaoyang suddenly had an unbearable pain in his stomach. He supported himself on the table with one hand, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Qi Shua's expression changed, and he carried him to the hospital. Along the way, Qi Shua stepped on the gas pedal as hard as he could. When he saw Yi Xiaoyang's frown, his heart felt like it was being squeezed tightly by a pair of hands. When they finally arrived at the hospital, Qi Shua carried Yi Xiaoyang and rushed into the obstetrics department. He was so nervous that his voice was trembling. Doctor, my husband's stomach suddenly hurts. Hurry and take a look at him. The doctor pushed Yi Xiaoyang into the treatment room for a checkup and said, he's in labor. Yi Xiaoyang was confused. Isn't the expected date January 10th? The doctor said, it's normal for premature labor to come out early. The child can't wait to see you. Qi Shua held Yi Xiaoyang's hand tightly, his eyes full of worry. Yi Xiaoyang was also a little scared. He was a man, but he was actually having a child. The doctor saw that the two of them were equally nervous, so he comforted them. Don't worry, I'll take him to the operating room first. His family can wait outside. Looking at the red words in operation, Qi Shua's heart was burning with anxiety. He clenched his fists and paced back and forth in the corridor. He wished he could take Yang place and suffer this pain. Every second in the hospital felt like it was extremely long. Not long after, the loud sound of a baby crying could be heard from the operating room. The sound was full of energy, and one could tell that it was a very healthy baby. The doctor pushed Yi Xiaoyang out. Congratulations to the two of you, girls. Qi Shua only took one look at the swaddled baby before he quickly rushed to the hospital bed. He held Yi Xiaoyang's hand tightly and said with heartache, are you okay? Yi Xiaoyang shook his head. I'm fine. I gave him anesthesia, so I didn't feel anything during the process. Qi Shua gently stroked Yi Xiaoyang's sweat-soaked hair and leaned over to gently kiss him on the forehead. The doctor reminded them, don't the two of you want to take a look at your baby? Only then did Qi Shua react. He turned around and carried the baby to Yi Xiaoyang's bedside. Yi Xiaoyang looked at the baby expectantly and couldn't help but complain, it's so wrinkled, and its eyes are so narrow. It's so *king ugly. Is this really his and Qi Shua's child? Qi Shua said gently, newborn babies are all like this. It'll take a few days for them to grow. Yi Xiaoyang felt a little relieved. Yes, yes. Our daughter will definitely be a beauty. That night, Yi Xiaoyang posted a message on Weibo, welcome, little angel, for choosing us as fathers. It was accompanied by a photo of the two of them holding the baby's tiny hand. Qi Shua reposted Yi Xiaoyang's Weibo, "Thank you for your hard work, Yang Yang. Therefore, I will work hard to protect my beloved Yang Yang and our daughter." On Yi Xiaoyang's birthday, the two of them held a wedding and got pregnant during their honeymoon. On Qi Shua's birthday, the two of them had a child. This year could be considered to have ended satisfactorily. The child's name was Qi Yisin. Netizens were still teasing that the baby of the sun/moon couple wasn't called Little Ming. But it was obviously not appropriate for a girl to be called Little Ming. The name Yisin was simple and easy to remember. It represented the wholehearted devotion the two of them had for each other. Fans couldn't help but complain, naming a child is like feeding a wave of PDA? Sun/moon true love, child accident. When they brought the baby home, the two of them hired a professional nanny to take care of her. After all, they were both new fathers and were in a hurry. They were afraid that they wouldn't be able to take good care of their daughter. Time passed quickly, and Qi Yisin gradually grew. When she was born, her eyes, which were two slits, also grew. Her eyes were bright and clear. Her eyes were really carved from the same mold as Yi Xiaoyang's. The color of her hair was dark black like Qi Shua's. The shape of her lips was also a bit like Qi Shua's. When she pursed her lips slightly, she looked quite cold. At the child's 100th birthday banquet, all her friends in the entertainment circle came to attend and brought a bunch of gifts. All kinds of children's clothes, toys, plush dolls, longevity locks, and the like filled the entire room. From the moment the baby was born, she received a lot of love and care. When Mingxing saw the child, he couldn't help but sigh, "The child's facial features are a combination of both of your characteristics. She's so beautiful at such a young age. When she grows up in the future, she'll definitely bring harm to many people." The more Yi Xiaoyang looked at his daughter, the cuter he felt. The little girl's skin was white and tender, and her eyes were bright and bright. When she was awake, it was as if there were stars in her eyes. When she was unhappy, she would pout, which was exactly the same as her alpha father's serious expression. When she cried, it was so loud that it could almost burst one's eardrums. But this child had a good temper. She didn't cry all the time and would calm down after some coaxing. She was very obedient and sensible. This was Yi Xiaoyang's Qi Shua's child. It was a combination of their genes and the continuation of their love. Qi Shua had been smart and lively since she was young. When she was 3 years old, she climbed trees with the white cat. Her athletic cells were so strong that it was obvious that she had inherited Yi Xiaoyang's mischievousness when he was young. But she also inherited Qi Shua's talent in music. She sang very well and won the kindergarten singing competition every time. Yi Xiaoyang was passionate about tying all kinds of beautiful braids for his daughter and dressing her up beautifully like a little princess. It was said that fathers liked daughters more, and it was indeed true. Yi Xiaoyang's heart melted every time he saw a cute little girl in a dress with her hair tied up in braids standing in front of him and calling him daddy in a childish voice. However, when he was in school, his precious daughter suddenly didn't like to wear cute braids. She cut her hair short and liked to wear cool short-sleeved shirts and long pants. On the first day of kindergarten, she beat the entire kindergarten children into submission. Qi Shua analyzed, this child's personality might evolve into an alpha in the future. Yi Xiaoyang pondered, a female alpha? Is my daughter that amazing? Qi Shua gently hugged Yi Xiaoyang's shoulder. Of course, she inherited our genes. No one dares to bully her. It's already good enough that she doesn't bully others. Yi Xiaoyang, his daughter's personality was very cool and she had been straightforward since she was young. It wasn't a bad idea to evolve into an alpha. In the future, he could marry a gentle and cute Omega girl. Well, he could also marry an Omega boy. Yi Xiaoyang was curious, she inherited your talent in music. If she doesn't play games, does she have any talent? Qi Shua, why don't you bring her to try it out this weekend? On Saturday night, after Qi Shua finished her homework, her two fathers pulled her to the gaming room and turned on the computer to play games together. Yi Xiaoyang asked, daughter, do you like heroes? Qi Shua looked through the hero database for a long time and finally chose a blood-cloaked assassin. Qi Shua, this hero is very difficult. It's your first time playing, so why don't you start with something simple? Qi Shua, it's only challenging when it's difficult. I'll play this. Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang looked at each other and let her practice on her own. She picked Qi Shua's hero, the blood-clothed assassin. Perhaps this was fate, his daughter was sending herself to death in the training camp's man-machine mode. Although she was constantly killed by the computer, this child was very stubborn. The more she was defeated, the braver she became. After dying, she would stand up and continue playing. There was no such thing as discouragement. In the second week, Yi Xiaoyang discovered that she had quickly reached the gold rank. In less than a month, she had actually reached the king rank. There were even esports teams who noticed the ID single-hearted and privately messaged her, "Hello, are you interested in playing professionally?" Single-hearted replied, "You guys should ask my father." The esports scouts asked around and found out that the father of this passerby wild king who had suddenly appeared was Qi Shua, Yi Xiaoyang, who had once created an era of esports. The esports team's mentality collapsed. F***ck, the passerby wild king who recently appeared is actually the daughter of these two devils? Their daughter is only 10 years old, right? Talent, as expected, I don't understand. I watched the recording. Her playing style is very special. She combines Qi Shua's calmness and Yi Xiaoyang's savagery into one. At the age of 16, Qi Yisun split into alpha. Netizens expressed their congratulations. I think Yang daughter is alpha, a handsome female A. The handsome female a wild king had attracted the attention of countless fans. Her jungling style was very distinct, and she would usually sweep the opposite jungling area clean, leaving behind a taunting line, "Your jungling area is my home." Countless junglers were angered to death. Many fans criticized the two fathers on Weibo. Aren't you going to control your daughter? Yi Xiaoyang's attitude towards Qi Shua, as long as his daughter doesn't commit murder and arson, there's no need to control her. She has her own life and the right to choose her own destiny. Qi Yisun did not become an esports player. She said, "If I were to play in a professional league, I would at most be a world champion. I don't want to follow in my father's footsteps. So, I've decided to become a streamer. There's not much pressure, and I have more free time. I can also play games while petting my cat." Qi Shua's Yi Xiaoyang said, "As long as the child likes it, we won't interfere." Qi Shua and Yi Xiaoyang were still together every day. Shuayue and Liaoyang streaming rooms were still the most popular channels on Whale platform even after so many years. They played games every day, petted their cats, and traveled. Their days were incomparably relaxed and comfortable. Occasionally, they would come to their daughter's streaming room and play some entertainment games as a family. The netizens sent comments one after another, "Devil, please surrender. Sister Xian doesn't dare to swear in front of her fathers? No, 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 Sister Xian obviously inherited her father's talent for insulting others. Yi Xiaoyang, then, how could his biological daughter not be good at insulting others?" Yi Xiaoyang was very happy for his daughter that she had chosen the path she liked. And the feelings between him and Qi Shua were still as sweet as before. The two of them lived happily in retirement. They had also fulfilled the promise they made to each other on their wedding day, to love each other and spend the rest of their lives together. On the day of their 16th wedding anniversary, the two of them once again celebrated in private at home. This time, they didn't even call their daughter back. This was a world that belonged solely to the two of them. During the warm candlelight dinner, Yi Xiaoyang gently held Qi Shua's hand across the dining table and said, "In this world, the luckiest thing that happened to me was meeting you." Qi Shua slightly held his hand back, "Me too." End of chapter 225. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video to support the channel.